As morning news, a ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court today that could have implications here. And a 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court allowing states to cut off Medicaid money for Planned Parenthood. The case centers on funding for other health care services that Planned Parenthood provides in South Carolina. Chief Legal Correspondent Jan Crawford joining us now. She has more on what Planned Parenthood and the patient unsuccessfully argued before the High Court.
They said that Medicaid Act meant that they should still be able to use Planned Parenthood services because that was the provider that they chose. And they used a federal civil rights law to try to get this case to go forward. And today the court rejected that and said that they could not sue under this provision in the Medicaid Act to try to be able to get access to these services.
And legal experts saying that the decision paves the way for more states to exclude Planned Parenthood from their Medicaid programs. A CDC advisory panel recommending a new RSV immunization for infants. Correspondent Michael Wallace has more on that.
The Prevention Advisory Committee's vote was 5-2. It's suggesting babies under 8 months who are born during or entering their first RSV season should get 1 dose of Merck's clesrovimab. One of the dissenting panel members is concerned about deaths in clinical trials of the vaccine. The other is worried about the timing of the shot and that it might interact poorly with other vaccines.
And later today, the CDC Advisory Committee expected to vote on the safety of a preservative used in flu vaccines. A longtime veteran of the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office getting a big settlement after claiming he was forced to retire back in 2021 because he's white.
A 2022 lawsuit from former Lieutenant Joe Bice argues he was fired from his job at the county jail without reason, and days later, his former supervisor called him and told him he had been caught up in a, quote, political racial war. Now, County Attorney Mike Ludwigczak tells commissioners the $650,000 settlement resolves that legal battle.
After negotiation, the parties have now proposed this settlement as a resolution.
That's been approved unanimously by the County Commission. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
And we should say Gwinnett County and the Sheriff's Office have not yet returned request for comment. An Atlanta man is waking up in the hospital in custody for trying to kidnap his ex-wife.
Atlanta police say a man abducted his ex-wife and forcibly drove off in her car. This happened Tuesday night near 370 Northside Drive, where police tracked the vehicle with both the victim and the suspect inside. The car got involved in an accident and overturned. The woman and the suspect were taken to Grady. The unidentified man is now in custody at Grady Detention, facing multiple charges. Daphne Young, 95.5 WSB.
Clayton County Police releasing the name now of the teenager who was shot and killed outside of Jonesboro Kroger. The agency saying 17-year-old Quandria Jordan died after he was shot multiple times outside that store on Terra Boulevard. Witnesses reported hearing 4 gunshots before seeing a vehicle take off. Anybody with information being asked to call 911. The mayor of Johns Creek fighting for the city to have its own zip code.
Johns Creek is divided up into, basically 5 different cities have zip codes in Johns Creek, and none of those say Johns Creek.
Mayor John Bradbury saying it creates problems with finding businesses within the city. Plus, he says it is a possible public safety issue. The mayor saying he plans on asking citizens to join him in teaming up with the National Zip Code Advocacy Coalition. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac may soon start counting cryptocurrency assets when considering mortgage applications. It is a change for Freddie and Fannie, which under President Biden were barred from considering crypto due to high levels of uncertainty in the digital currency market and scams related to it. And first-time jobless claims were down last week. According to numbers out today from the Labor Department, some 236,000 people filing for initial benefits. That's down from 246,000 the week before. As we take a look at the markets, everything is up. The Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P all in the green here on your lunch hour. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams has a look at your roads on your lunchtime hour.
Just found some new trouble in Doraville, Sabrina. It is a crash in a center lane, 285 eastbound, the inner loop. Right before you get to I-85, exit 33, there's the Spaghetti Junction interchange. It takes you to 85 north. So that's starting to slow the ride back into Dunwoody. Earlier, stalled big rig on the west side, I-20 eastbound past Fulton Industrial Boulevard, exit 49. That's been moved all to the right. So delays back toward Thornton Road will start to improve. And you got that right lane construction in the cab. 20 eastbound heads up for this between Wesley Chapel and Panola Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Now your 5-day forecast brought to you by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
Partly cloudy, hot and humid this afternoon. High 95. Watching for pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Those will continue through the evening hours, but fizzling out after midnight, lows in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up storms, high 93. Partly cloudy on Saturday, high 91, watching for afternoon storms. Sunday, partly cloudy, high 92. Mostly cloudy on Monday with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms, high 89.
It is 84 degrees in Milton, 83 in Winder, 84 here in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 12:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 12 o'clock keyword is fortune. That's fortune. Fortune. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword fortune for your chance to win. You have until 12:59 to enter. Good luck. Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson. My goodness, I've been chomping at the bit to get on here today. I wish I could have gotten the show started early because we got a lot to go. I have caught CNN, the cable news network that prides itself on its factual broadcast, and I have caught them in a lie attempting to smear the President of the United States. It's actually a really big freaking deal. We've got to begin with the Secretary of Defense and what the Secretary of Defense did this morning. The Secretary of Defense having a press conference, tearing into the media.
How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, I don't know, fly a plane for 36 hours? Has MSNBC done that story? Has Fox? Have we done the story how hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times so that American people understand? How about how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? Or what it's like to man a Patriot battery? Or how hard it is to refuel midair? Giving the American people an understanding of how complex and sophisticated this mission really was. There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that because of the hatred of this press corps, are undermined because your people are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful. It's irresponsible. And folks in this room are privy to that information because of the proximity here in the Pentagon. It's an important responsibility. And time again, classified information is leaked or peddled for political purposes to try to make the president look bad. And
it's true. This morning, Pete Hegseth tore into the American media for trying to make the president look bad, which is exactly what CNN did. CNN, with its reporter, Natasha Bertrand, ran a story, and now they've edited and doctored the story to try to cover their tracks, and I've got the proof that CNN is engaged in a massive cover-up designed to smear this president. CNN, which for 4 years covered for Joe Biden and actually had Brian Stelter on when Republicans were saying that that Joe Biden had to be let off stage by Barack Obama, had on Brian Stelter, their media guy who's supposed to hold the media accountable, instead always serves as chief apologist, say, look, bro, the Democrats are denying this. We now know it was true, and at the time, CNN covered for Joe Biden. For time and time again, CNN covered for Joe Biden. And who did they hire to be a national security reporter? Natasha Bertrand, the Politico reporter who covered for the Democrats and said that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. She is the original reporter on that story. Donald Trump came out yesterday and criticized her. CNN is now defending her. They've released a statement, quote, "We stand 100% behind Natasha Bertrand's journalism and specifically her and her colleagues' reporting of the early intelligence assessment of the U.S. attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. CNN's reporting made clear that this was an initial finding that could change with additional intelligence. We have extensively covered President Trump's own deep skepticism about it. However, we do not believe it is reasonable to criticize CNN reporters for accurately reporting on the existence of the assessment and accurately characterizing its findings, which are in the public interest. This is a load of horse manure. I would say bull, but we're on public radio networks and can't say the BS word, but this is BS from CNN. They've been caught in a lie. I have caught them in the lie. Nicholas Fondacaro over at Newsbusters has caught them in the lie, and they are doing damage control. And I will prove it to you right now. CNN attempted to smear the president of the United States with a lie from Natasha Bertrand and her team, the same reporter who covered for Democrats on Joe Biden, and now they're trying to cover it up and do damage control. Let's roll the tape. Let's start with their damage control mode this morning. These are the CNN anchors lying to the audience of CNN.
But at the same time, we do need to make clear that despite the emotional speech and outrage from the defense secretary, what he said about the DIA assessment is what CNN reported on. His issue that he took about it being preliminary, about it being low confidence. CNN reported on all of this. I was looking back just to make sure that we had it all throughout the reporting process. CNN had reported that it is preliminary and, of course, can be updated, including these two parts. It is still early, we reported in our initial report, for the U.S. to have a comprehensive picture of the impact of the strikes. None of the sources described how the DIA assessment compares to the views of other agencies in the intelligence community. The U.S. is continuing to pick up intelligence, including from within Iran, as they assess the damage. Also in CNN reporting, where the secretary took real issue and seemed very upset about it not being stated that there was low confidence stated in this DIA assessment. Also in CNN reporting, including this, the final U.S. military battle damage assessment by the DIA could take days or even weeks to complete. Multiple sources familiar with the Pentagon's process told CNN the initial DIA analysis was produced just 24 hours after the attack, according to one of the sources, because it was only a preliminary analysis. Its judgments were low confidence.
You got that? Its judgments were low confidence. They said the preliminary reports, the initial CNN reports, CNN's all of their reports. I looked back. No. We got to go back. We got to play one more time at the beginning here.
But at the same time, we do need to make clear that despite the emotional speech and outrage from the defense secretary, what he said about the DIA assessment is what CNN reported on. His issue that he took about it being preliminary, about it being low confidence. CNN reported on all of this. I was looking back just to make sure that we had it all throughout the reporting process.
I was just looking back to make sure we had it all throughout the reporting process. And then they trotted out Daniel Dale, who's their in-house fact checker.
Well, a few things here. The secretary referred to fake news CNN and then immediately proceeded to effectively confirm CNN's reporting. Again, emphasized that this intelligence assessment was preliminary, made with low confidence.
Preliminary, made with low confidence, CNN's original reporting. Ha-ha! Here's Natasha Bertrand, the Hunter Biden laptop fabulist, who's CNN's national security reporter. This is her initial report.
Well, let's get back to CNN national security correspondent Natasha Bertrand for the exclusive reporting. Natasha, what more are you learning?
Yeah, Boris, so this is an early assessment from the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is the Pentagon's intelligence arm. And we do want to emphasize that the intelligence, of course, is ongoing. The collection is ongoing, and the assessments as a result of that intelligence could change. But as of right now, the DIA has produced this intelligence assessment that we are told was based on the battle damage assessment that U.S. Central Command has done following those massive bombings and strikes that the U.S. carried out inside Iran last weekend. And what we are told is that based on the assessments of the damage that these bombs implemented on these nuclear sites, that as of right now, it does not appear that they ended or obliterated Iran's nuclear program. Instead, they only set it back by months, according to people who were briefed on the assessment. Now, these findings are obviously at odds with President Donald Trump's repeated assertions that the strikes, quote, completely and totally obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities, something that has been echoed as well by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. But we did ask the White House for comment on this, and they appeared to acknowledge the existence of the assessment, but they said that they disagreed with it.
Now, her report goes on for 2 more minutes. I can't play it all, or I'm fact-checking CNN, and CNN would send me a letter and sue me for stealing their content if I played too much of it. But she never, in the 4 minutes that she's on TV, says that it's low confidence. When she produced this on Tuesday, the 24th of June, and you don't have to believe me because I actually got in the Wayback Machine, which is a website where you can go track changes to news stories. This is the original CNN reporting. I've got it. For those of you watching on the video live stream, you can walk along with me here and see it. Exclusive early U.S. assessment. It was published 2:51 p.m. on June 24th, 2025, 2:51 p.m. as I was getting off air. Let's word search it for the word low. There are 2 references. There's Trump calling sources low-level losers, and Isfahan's lower levels, penetrating Isfahan's lower levels. 2, references to the word low. That's the original report. There are 2 published at 2:51 p.m. on June 24th. And that evening, Natasha Bertrand goes on CNN, never says the report is low confidence. And in the original reporting, it never says it's low confidence. They altered their reporting. CNN altered their reporting the next day. I went into the Wayback Machine and I tracked it. Let's roll the tape. This has been updated 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, June 25th. 8:30 a.m., June 25th. There are now 3 references to the word low. There is the anonymous low-level losers, and then there's the new paragraph. It was a low-confidence report, followed by references to this one. So you got that? At the bottom, they had the story has been updated with additional details. They don't tell you who updated the story with additional details. 2:51 p.m. on Tuesday, June 24th, CNN runs a story that does not say it's low-level confidence. They put Natasha Bertrand on CNN, who does not say it's a low-level confidence report. And now today, after being blasted by Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, CNN is lying to its viewers, claiming all along they reported it was low-level confidence, when actually that's not what they did. They're lying right now. It took them more than 12 hours to update it after the Pentagon, the CIA, and the Israelis confirmed that it was low-level intelligence. For more than 12 hours, CNN refused to correct it. And they trotted out their fact-checker one more time.
Well, a few things here. The secretary referred to fake news CNN and then immediately proceeded to effectively confirm CNN's reporting. Again, emphasized that this intelligence assessment was preliminary, made with low confidence.
That's not what CNN reported, Daniel Dale. That is not what CNN reported. One more time, back to the anchors.
But at the same time, we do need to make clear that despite the emotional speech and outrage from the defense secretary, what he said about the DIA assessment is what CNN reported.
No, it is not. Again, the original report from CNN was published 2:51 p.m. on Tuesday, June 24th, and does not include the phrase that this is a low confidence report, despite what all of CNN's anchors are now telling their audience. They never acknowledged that that was updated more than 12 hours later. They are defending Natasha Bertrand, who originated the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation story, and they've got their entire network now carrying water for a reporter who lied, or at least obfuscated, by not saying it was low confidence. How the hell can you believe this network with anything they say? How can you believe CNN if they're going to retcon in the truth and claim they said it all along and they did not? It was a flat-out lie by CNN for their anchors and for their fact checker to come on television and say Donald Trump was just saying what they said. They're not, because Donald Trump knew it was a low confidence report, and CNN refused to tell its viewers the truth for more than 12 hours, and now refuses to acknowledge it revised and altered its original reporting to conform to what everyone else knows. They can't be honest with their audience. They can't be honest about their original reporting. They can't be honest that their reporter is the reporter who came up with the Hunter Biden laptop Russian disinformation lie when the Hunter Biden laptop was real. They promoted that girl from Politico, and she just got them in hot water like she did Politico with the Russian disinformation stuff. And they're circling the wagons around their entire team. They've trotted their anchors out to lie to the public. They've trotted their fact checker out to lie to the public, and CNN is lying. Why? Because institutionally, the network hates Donald Trump. Because institutionally, the network doesn't care about lying so long as it makes Donald Trump and Republicans look bad. They are willing to criticize and distract from and undermine a military operation that was successful so that they can tell their audience that Donald Trump's a liar, when in this particular case, oh, the irony, it is CNN itself lying to its audience, and we have them nailed to rights. We have the proof. We have the documentation. We have the changes they made to the article, and we have their own statements and original reporting. Shame on CNN for lying to their audience and not owning up to the fact that they originally did not report it was low confidence. They trotted it out, claiming with great confidence that this report showed that the Pentagon attack was not successful, and they can't even own up to the fact that they lied.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center jammed up on 285 East, the inner loop between Dunwoody and Dorville due to a crash. Trying to get it out of a couple of right lanes, right at I-85 exit 33 there to I-85 north and southbound. So if you want, you can take 400 south to 85 north, but just be mindful of that crash there between Dunwoody and Dorville. And now we got a crash in Marietta, 75 southbound, South Marietta Parkway, exit 263. Hero just pulled up to this one. It's blocking the right lane, or left lane, I should say. You're slow back toward Highway 5. Traffic brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Win millions playing Powerball in-store or online at GALottery.com, so you can finally vacation to that luxurious island, or you can just buy it, only from the Georgia Lottery. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 12 o'clock keyword is fortune. That's fortune. Fortune. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword fortune for your chance to win. You have until 12:59 to enter. Good luck.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response that they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now, while you still have options.
Take your summer celebration to the next level with a Bullfrog hot tub from Brown's Pools and Spas. Entertain and enjoy your yard with your family like never before. Only Bullfrog offers the Jetpack Therapy System, allowing you to customize each seat to fit every body in your family. Shop our Independence Day hot tub sale now. Instant rebates up to $1,500 or special financing for up to 120 months. Offer ends July 7th. Celebrating over 50 years of BrownsPools.com.
It's Eric here, and with the election ended, there is change in the air. A new day dawns for American businesses. New regulations, new deregulation, new tax plan, new tax cuts. You may be smelling opportunity in the air. You may be seeing opportunity. Now is the time to consider reaching out to First Liberty Building and Loan and see if they might be able to help you put your plan that's in your head down to paper and see if they can help you capitalize on it. There are so many opportunities out there. If you need to borrow $750,000 or more, well, First Liberty might be able to help you. They make their own lending decisions. They've been doing it since the 90s. They know how to do it, and because the Frost family's been helping businesses since the 90s, they're still going to be there. You're not going to have lender rollover like you've had at other places. Reach out to them, FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. Spend 10 minutes with them, see if you're a fit for them and them for you. FirstLibertyGA.com.
Summer can be a lot of fun, but summer can also stink. You're outside enjoying the yard, but what is that smell? Hi, I'm Shannon, the owner of Scorpion Septic. That foul odor is the summer heat telling you that your septic system needs Scorpion Septic.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump out charge with your repair. Details online, scorpionsepticservices.com.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelly Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for The Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday noon to 1 right here on 95.5 WSB.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
You may not agree with him, but he tells you the truth. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Welcome back. It's Erick Erickson here across the United States. Glad to have you with me. It's infuriating. It really is infuriating to be lectured by people like Daniel Dale, who regularly fact-checked reporting from Republicans and went into hiding for the 4 years of Joe Biden, to come out now and lie to the audience of CNN and claim that they got the reporting right when they altered the story, and CNN refuses to acknowledge that they altered the story. The network should be completely ashamed of itself. David Zaslav of Warner Brothers is spinning the network off into something new, and it's going to be gutted. And when you've got journalism like this, it kind of deserves what it gets. I have very little sympathy for an organization that I used to love. I worked there for 3 years, and I still have friends in the building, some of whom are texting me right now that I'm on point. And it's a shame. I would like for America to have a news network that is actually fair and balanced. This has been. That's why I started watching News Nation. I go on with my buddy Leland Vittert on occasionally. They actually do a very good job of just telling me the news. It's not a Republican spin or a Democratic spin. It's just, I just want to know what's going on. I'm smart enough to think for myself. I don't need a narrative, and CNN has a narrative that Donald Trump is bad and lies to you, and to push that narrative, CNN decided it needed to lie. It's deeply offensive to me that the network would do that. Deeply offensive to me. I just want the news. Stop lying, CNN. Stop lying. Now, when we come back, we gotta talk about what actually happened now with the bombing, because there's been another press briefing at the Pentagon. I've got the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and his explanation of what happened. It is remarkable. It really is just incredible. It's like Star Wars. It really is like Star Wars. Sending the missile down the air shaft. Look, recently, some banks have had their credit downgraded, and there are all sorts of problems out there right now with banking, and we're waiting for Jerome Powell to make up his mind on interest rates. Swiss America has been sounding the alarm about a secret war on cash for some time. It's an assault on our freedoms. And with soaring interest rates squeezing the economy and banks teetering on collapse, Swiss America wants to educate you how to protect your hard-earned cash now. You need to get their report, The Secret War on Cash. You get a free copy. All you do is call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. All that war on cash includes digital forms of currency. You need their free report. All you have to do is mention my name, Eric, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. You just text my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646, or go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, E-R-I-C-K, 1-800-289-2646. Call Swiss America. Get their report. It's completely free from Swiss America. Message and data rates may apply.
It's happening on the streets of Atlanta.
After suspect refuses to exit home on Summer Chase Drive.
If it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta.
Looks to be a tanker truck crashed into the median on the jam cam.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The major culprits squeezing household budgets for auto insurance, gasoline, and utilities.
Your 24/7 news source. Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. The Supreme Court has ruled today 6-3 that Planned Parenthood and a patient cannot sue the state of South Carolina to enforce a provision of the Medicaid Act that ensures a beneficiary can get medical care from the provider of their choice. Legal experts say the decision paving the way for more states to exclude Planned Parenthood from their Medicaid programs. Your weather for today: more showers and storms are possible tonight and this evening. Going to be hot and humid otherwise with an afternoon high of 95. We'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. The Georgia DOT Yellow Hero trucks will soon be rolling around the clock again here on Metro Atlanta interstates. The agency announcing today they're returning to 24/7 service.
Our Hero operators will start this around-the-clock 24/7 service, as well as those extended routes throughout Metro Atlanta on July 1st.
That is GDOT's Natalie Dale. She says the round-the-clock service is back after 2 years when they had to cut hours due to staffing shortages. Atlanta-based Delta Airlines is making a dent in the package delivery business. The Wall Street Journal reporting Delta is now carrying tens of thousands of packages every day, everything from scrubs to shoes, through a parcel service first introduced last year. The service works by using unused cargo space in Delta planes, and then the airline schedules trucking companies to take those packages to customers' doors. Delta hoping to eventually deliver hundreds of thousands of packages every single day. As we take a look at the markets, the Dow's up 346 at 43,329, so the Dow's up almost a full percent. NASDAQ's up more than 0.5%, so is the S&P. It's 12:32.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-2798. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-2798. That's 800-575-2798. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Travel advisory between Dunwoody and Dorville. This crash, tow truck on the scene, but they're still in a couple of right center lanes. 285 eastbound, the inner loop between Beaufort Highway and I-85 jammed from Ashford Dunwoody. Take 400 south to 85 north as an alternate. Crash just cleared out of the left lane in Marietta. 75 southbound, south 120 loop exit 263. Slow back toward Highway 5 with northbound delays on and off between Marietta and Kennesaw. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 95. Watching for scattered pop-up showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon and the evening hours.
We'll have more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 12 o'clock keyword is fortune. That's fortune. Fortune. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword fortune for your chance to win. You have until 12:59 to enter. Good luck. Conversationalists, welcome. The phone number here, 877-973-7425. If you would like to be on the program, very, very happy to have you. I got to get into a couple things. First, it's another bad day for Tucker Carlson. First, he says we'd start World War III, it wouldn't work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's very much against NATO, and now Donald Trump is actually suddenly a proponent of NATO. Here's the actual quoting from Anne-Marie Hornder, who is a political correspondent for Bloomberg. This is Trump's quote on NATO. I came here because it was something I'm supposed to be doing, but I left here a little bit differently. I left here saying that these people really love their countries. It's not a ripoff, and we're here to help them protect their countries. That's what he says. NATO is not a ripoff, he says. Another loss for Tucker Carlson. This is the New York Times. A NATO summit designed to please President Trump ended on Wednesday with his European allies approving an ambitious spending goal to meet the threat of a militarized Russia and clinching a long elusive public commitment from the mercurial American leader for the alliance's collective defense. Since his first term, Mr. Trump has been pressing for the allies to spend more on their own defense. On Wednesday, after a one-day meeting in the Netherlands, they agreed to raise their spending on the military to 5% of their national income by 2035. That amount consists of 3.5% on traditional military needs like troops, weapons, shells, and missiles, up sharply from the current target of 2%. It also includes another 1.5% on military-adjacent programs like improved roads and bridges, better emergency health services, better cybersecurity, and civic resilience. Mr. Trump was pleased. This was a tremendous summit, and I enjoyed it very much. They want to protect their countries, and they need the United States, and without the United States, it's not going to be the same. The president changing his mind on NATO. Now, a lot of this comes, the president's in a very good mood about what happened in Iran and the further assessments. I will give Jake Tapper some credit here. He's getting blown up by a lot of folks on the right, understandably so, for saying we're just reporting. I think that Tapper probably needs to recognize his network doesn't get it all right, but he did have on, contrary to Natasha Bertrand, Jake Tapper had on Barak Ravid from Axios to cover the reporting.
And Barak, the CIA has its new assessment, as does Israel's military. What are you hearing from your Israeli sources about the assessment of the damage 4 days after?
So I think if you saw what CIA Director John Ratcliffe issued, I think this is much closer to where the Israeli assessment is. And I have to tell you, a senior Israeli intelligence official told me today that overall, other than the fact that he's using the word obliterated, but overall, the Israeli intelligence assessment shows that the reality is much closer to where Trump says it is than to where the initial DIA report said it was.
The Israelis disagreed with the DIA report. Everybody disagrees with the initial report. It was leaked. It was low confidence. It came after Senate and House Democratic members of the Intelligence Committee had been briefed. I suspect the leak came from them. And they sent it to Natasha Bertrand, who carried water for Democrats on the Hunter Biden laptop. And she has embarrassed CNN. And CNN, instead of cleaning up the mess, has decided to circle wagons and lie. What actually happened? Well, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff provided a great explanation this morning, showing the massive video explosion of the bunker buster. Just remarkable video showing it's incredible, the video demonstrating exactly what happens. He was explaining why there's no crater. Everybody wanted a massive crater for these weapons, and there isn't a massive crater for the weapons because the
keep it going.
Bomb goes in so far
inside the mission space.
So what you do is you see the missile, the bunker buster bomb.
Unlike a normal surface bomb, you won't see an impact crater because they're designed to deeply bury and then function. I know there's been a lot of questions about that. All 6 weapons at each vent at Fordo went exactly where they were intended to go. A bomb has 3 effects that causes damage: blast, fragmentation, and overpressure. In this case, the primary kill mechanism in the mission space was a mix of overpressure and blast, ripping through the open tunnels and destroying critical hardware. The majority of the damage we assessed based on our extensive modeling was a blast layer combined with the impulse extending from the shock. Imagine what this looks like 6 times over.
Imagine what it looks like 6 times over. I gotta tell you, I think the media's first reaction was to try to embarrass Donald Trump, because it's what the media does. And I think CNN fell into the pattern of being Trump haters instead of trying to be honest, and they have egg over their face. These bombs penetrate the ground down to 200 feet, and in this particular case, they penetrated air shafts. This is the plot of Top Gun Maverick and of Star Wars. In Star Wars, Luke Skywalker has to drop a bomb into an exhaust shaft that will blow up the Death Star. In this case, our military needed to get 12 bunker busters through air exhaust shafts in order to blow up Fordo. By all accounts, they blew up Fordo. Now, it is absolutely true from the preliminary intelligence, because we don't have craters, we don't actually know if the interior of Fordo completely collapsed. We don't know. It's 300 feet down. There is hardened concrete, fortified concrete. We don't know if the bombs caused the complete ceiling collapse. However, the IAEA is the UN's international team, and the IAEA chair told Radio France the centrifuges at Fordo are no longer operational. Grossi said IAEA officials know the installations like the back of our hand and can deduce fairly precise conclusions by looking at satellite images. Given the power of these devices and the technical characteristics of a centrifuge, we already know that these centrifuges are no longer operational because they are fairly precise machines. There are rotors, and the vibrations from the bombs have completely destroyed them. That is from the IAEA directly. It is not processed through a CNN reporter with axes to grind. The IAEA says this mission was a success. Israel says this mission was a success. And now, today, the American press corps is having to come on board begrudgingly and recognize that it does appear the mission's a success. It does appear the mission is a success. It appears what Donald Trump wanted done is done. This is on MSNBC.
In a statement, Director John Ratcliffe explains a body of credible intelligence from a historically reliable and accurate source indicates, quote, several key Iranian nuclear facilities were destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over the course of years. This contradicts a leaked initial assessment from the Defense Intelligence Agency, which found that the bombings only set back Iran's program by several months. 3 sources with knowledge of the matter tell NBC News that the agency also labeled its report as being low confidence. They categorize these things. It comes as the president and his administration have been outright dismissing the assessment, angrily doing so.
Yeah, they should. I want you to keep in mind something that hasn't gotten a lot of attention. A DIA employee was arrested a few weeks ago for trying to sell state secrets or give state secrets to a foreign country because he was upset that Donald Trump got elected. So the Defense Intelligence Agency, and by the way, I think the sourcing on the report was from Congress. But you should keep it in perspective that the Defense Intelligence Agency is home to an employee who tried to give state secrets to a foreign government because he was upset that Donald Trump got elected. It didn't get a lot of reporting, but I reported it. It's out there, and I think it's worth noting that the agency where the initial low confidence report came from is filled with people, the likes of which wanted to give state secrets, not sell, but give state secrets to a foreign government to undermine Donald Trump. And the American media preferred to carry water with these people and run their reporting as if the reporting was true. And shame on them. This is Ryan Zink on CNN.
Expecting to hear something from this intelligence briefing. I know some Democrats have complained that they were not briefed ahead of the military strikes. I have to say, just like as a voting person, I don't want intelligence to be partisan.
I think the key leadership was notified, but to have the General Congress be notified of specific strike details prior to, I think we've all seen how much of a leak process and how bad it is in the House. People just run to the media all the time. So I agree with that. You know, post-strike, I think there should be a briefing. Certainly Congress has a right to know what's going on and what the policy should be going forward. But again, does it change Iran's modus of operandi? Is it going to change their behavior? If it doesn't, there'll be other holes.
That was Ryan Zink. He's on the Intelligence Committee. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to play you one more CNN report today, just to keep in perspective what the in-house view is.
Just in, we are now hearing from Iran's supreme leader for the first time since the fragile ceasefire between Israel and Iran was announced. It comes as questions have been swirling about his whereabouts. The Ayatollah had not been seen or heard from publicly in nearly a week until just moments ago. It was in a statement published in Iranian state media, also on his X account. The supreme leader declared, quote, victory over the fake Zionist regime, and also claimed Israel's government, quote, almost collapsed and was crushed under the blows of the Islamic Republic. Now, his supporters have filled the streets of Tehran following the ceasefire, echoing his claims of victory, even as one senior government official gave this cryptic response when asked how the leader is doing.
Many people are worried about the health of the supreme leader. How is he doing?
This concern is a valuable one. We should all be prayerful. Those who are responsible for protecting and safeguarding the leader are certainly fulfilling their duties properly.
Yeah, that's a little cryptic. I will say that is a little cryptic, but I mean, there you got CNN announcing the Iranians believe they have won the operation, which is probably the in-house view now of the leadership of CNN. Wow. All right, look, we got other stuff we do have to talk about as well because the Supreme Court has made some big rulings today. However, tomorrow, the reason I didn't start with the Supreme Court, because I said I was going to today, because today was the last day on the Supreme Court calendar for decisions, but they punted. All the controversial decisions are coming out tomorrow, from birthright citizenship to regulation of pornography and the like. They're all tomorrow. But at the top of the next hour, we'll break out what happened today, because there was a big immigration case today, as well as the Planned Parenthood case and more. Right now, I need to tell you about Vision Computer. They would like to be your one-stop shop for all your technology needs, and they're fabulous. Call them at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com, and it doesn't matter what state you're in. They'll help you. They can get you the computer. Listen, if you go to the big box electronics store, that big blue box, you know, because I love that store, but you're going to get a computer that's one size fits all. It's not going to be your computer. If you go to Vision Computers, they're going to meet with you, talk about not just your needs, but your wants. And they're going to build you something. They're going to work with you on the pricing. And you're going to save some money if you mention my name. Tell them Eric sent you. And then you're going to get their just 5-star customer service. Their service really is great, 24/7. If you ever have a problem, you get a special phone number where you can call them and say, hey, my computer's doing this, or I lost a file, or what, and they can help you find it. They can get you the fix faster than a Google search. They can even remote into your computer. They can help you with email support, printer support, you name it. You call them at 404-COMPUTE, or you go to visioncomputers.com, the 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. You tell them Eric sent you. You're going to save some money. You can thank me later. They're fantastic.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear. It's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1250 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news in Doraville. The crash just cleared off to the right. All lanes back open. 285 eastbound. The inner loop at I-85. Exit number 33. So the brake lights back towards Chambly-Dunwoody Road will start to improve. 75 north and southbound between Marietta and Kennesaw still sluggish in both directions, although no crashes are in the way. And DOT looking for a new stall heading into Midtown, 85 southbound before 17th Street. Seeing those brake lights from the Georgia 400 I-85 merge. Traffic brought to you by Peach Pass and the new Peach Pass Go mobile app. The Peach Pass Go mobile app helps you get there faster with new and improved features and more coming soon. And download the new Peach Pass Go mobile app today at peachpass.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 12 o'clock keyword is fortune. That's fortune. Fortune. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword fortune for your chance to win. You have until 12:59 to enter. Good luck.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-Ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-Ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. Mm-hmm. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Every year for the 4th of July, my family invites over friends, and I get a big box of burgers and Franks from Omaha Steaks, and we grill out. It's going to be the same this year. Right now, for the 4th of July sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at Omaha Steaks. Just like me, I don't get a special. I take the discount as well, and you can use the promo code ERIC at checkout and get an extra $45 off. So it's already 50% off site-wide, and then you put in ERIC as your promo code, and you get $45 extra off, minimum order required. You get unparalleled quality from Omaha Steaks. It's deliciousness. Get the burgers, get the gourmet jumbo franks. You can get the sides, everything you need. You can even get steaks. We do this every year. It's become a family tradition. Start your own family tradition with Omaha Steaks. Again, 50% off site-wide right now. And if you go to omahasteaks.com with the 50% off site-wide, you get an extra $45 off if you use ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout. omahasteaks.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Greetings, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. You need to understand something that's happening right now. The Senate parliamentarian is the Empress who gets to decide for herself whether something can be in the reconciliation package or not. And House Republicans and some Senate Republicans are calling for her to be dismissed because she's throwing out a lot of key provisions. John Thune is saying the Senate's not going to overrule the Senate parliamentarian. Elizabeth McDonough was appointed by Harry Reid. And the Senate Republicans have kept Elizabeth McDonough. Now, you should know, in fairness, Elizabeth McDonough blocked the Democrats in their last reconciliation package from upping the minimum wage. And she blocked the Democrats from putting an amnesty provision in reconciliation. She's killing a lot of the Republican stuff. The rule is that the provisions must be tax and budget related. They can't be policy related, and they specifically can't be new policy. It's got to be related to taxation and budget. And so she's killing a lot of stuff. Now, I need you to understand what's actually happening here. What's really going on is that the Senate Republicans want the parliamentarian to be the bad guy, to throw out provisions that they don't want, and they don't want to say it's them because they want to publicly claim to be supportive, while privately they don't want these provisions in the reconciliation package. You're being played, and you need to understand you're being played by the Senate Republicans. They're perfectly fine with the parliamentarian throwing provisions out of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act that the House wanted because the Senate doesn't want them, and they want to be able to say, oh, we can't do it, the Senate parliamentarian won't let us. Now, there are some conspiracy theories out there claiming that Obamacare was passed by reconciliation. That's not true at all. Obamacare was passed 60-40 in the United States Senate after Arlen Specter jumped to the Democrats. It was passed outside of reconciliation. And then, once it was passed, Ted Kennedy died, Scott Brown got elected. They no longer had 60 seats in the Senate. Then they used reconciliation to go back in and alter provisions. And the ruling from the parliamentarian was this isn't new policy stuff. This is budgeting. They fixed the fiscal portions of Obamacare. Frankly, they did stretch it, and the parliamentarian allowed them to stretch it. That's true. But it is not true that Obamacare passed through reconciliation. The fixes to Obamacare passed through reconciliation. Just keep all this in perspective, though, that what's really going on here is the Senate Republicans have provisions they don't want passed. They can't afford to say they don't want them passed, so they're putting it off on the parliamentarian to say it violates the Byrd rule, and then they're saying, well, we can't overrule Harry Reid's parliamentarian. We can't do it. Just keep that in perspective. This is kabuki theater. This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you're growing your business, need access to capital, reach out to them. FirstLibertyGA.com. Tell them I sent you. Great people. They love helping businesses. FirstLibertyGA.com. Any business in any one of the 50 states can use them. When we come back, the Supreme Court speaks.
Friday on Atlanta's Morning News, our exclusive 5-day forecast helps you plan your weekend. Breaking stories from overnights, plus Clark Howard's reality check if you're looking to go on a cruise. I'm Chris Chandler. We start at 5 on WSB.
If you are 50 or older, it is recommended that you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. If you're an adult 19 to 49 with certain underlying medical conditions like asthma, diabetes, chronic heart disease, or COPD, vaccination is also recommended. Talk to your doctor about vaccination today and learn more at lung.org/protectyourself. Furnished by the American Lung Association in collaboration with Pfizer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hi there, good afternoon. It is 1 o'clock. I'm Sabrina Cupid, and this just in. The CDC Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices just now finishing voting on the flu vaccine recommendations.
Recommend children 18 years and younger receive seasonal influenza vaccine only in single-dose formulations that are free of thimerosal as a preservative.
And so the vote was in favor. The group saying people should only be given those shots free of an ingredient that anti-vaccine groups have tied to autism. Some public health officials are worried that some of the panel's decisions could make vaccines less accessible and more expensive for millions of Americans. The committee earlier voted to recommend a new RSV immunization for infants. All right, your weather for today, partly cloudy, hot and humid. A few afternoon and evening showers and storms are possible with an afternoon high of 95. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast. That'll come your way in just a couple of minutes. A lawsuit from a former Gwinnett County jailer who claims he was fired because he's white is dropped after the approval of a settlement.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it's unanimous.
That $650,000 settlement in the lawsuit brought by former Lieutenant Joe Bice was approved this week by the county commission. Bice claims he was placed on administrative leave, then forced to retire shortly after Sheriff Kibo Taylor took office. The suit says his supervisor at the time called him, saying Bice had been caught up in a, quote, political race war. The suit also claims many white employees were replaced by black employees under Taylor's leadership. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
All right, the county and sheriff's office have not yet responded to a request for comment. The Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau getting an update today on preparations for the World Cup, which begins in less than a year. Dan Corso, the head of Atlanta's World Cup host committee, says the planning process has been going on for years.
Decisions are being made as to what goes where and why and how we're going to move people around.
Atlanta will have 8 matches next summer at Mercedes-Benz Stadium over a month. We'll find out in December which 5 teams will be here for the initial matches. All right, gamers, listen up. Fortnite players can now sign up for a refund after the FTC says the company engaged in deceptive practices with users. Sam Champion has more on that.
Epic Games is the maker of the wildly popular game. They agreed to pay $126 million to settle these claims that it tricked players into making purchases. There were things like confusing buttons, intentionally hard to find cancel and refund options, and purchases that did not need parental permission.
And the FTC says Epic Games also ignored a number of consumer complaints. It's 102.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate is the easiest way to sell your home. You can save time, make the most money, and eliminate all the hassle this summer. Hi, it's Chris Chandler. My friends at Mark Spain Real Estate can sell your home with the strongest all-cash offer in the industry and help you move on your timeline. With over 67,000 satisfied clients, you can trust the most experienced real estate team in the U.S. to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
For many women in our community, support for our physical and mental health feels out of reach.
When your workday is long.
And your budget is tight.
And your village is busy.
And the road between home and help is a 6-lane highway with no crosswalk.
Northside Hospital believes women deserve better.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work.
We got your house call.
Heard.
Learn more at northside.com/heard.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and more people looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hey, it's Mark Aaron for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment. Now it's mainstream, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. They're well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now. 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026.
It's coming up on 105. Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams has a look at your roads.
For you brake lights into downtown, Sabrina, as you travel 85 southbound from the Georgia 400 merge, got a stall off to the right that was in a center lane right around 17th Street. It stays sluggish down toward North Avenue. In DeKalb County, a tap of the brakes, I-20 eastbound between Wesley Chapel Road exit 68 and Panola Road exit 71. Construction there in the right lane. And a few westbound delays in the work zone leaving the mall at Stonecrest. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 95 with a few pop-up storms through the afternoon and evening hours. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up storms, high 93. Saturday, partly cloudy, high 91 with afternoon storms continuing into the evening hours.
And a bit of good news from Christina. She says it's not going to be quite as hot for us next week. Right now in Sandy Springs, 84 degrees, 85 in Union City. Duluth, you have 86 degrees. We'll have more news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 1 o'clock keyword is shop. That's shop, S-H-O-P. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword shop for your chance to win. You have until 1:59 to enter. Good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America, and I sure am glad to have you with me. The phone number, 877-973-7425, should you wish to be on the program. Today was actually a pretty big day at the United States Supreme Court, and it was supposed to be their last day, but they had 10 cases, and they never released 10 cases, so it became obvious that they would have another day, and tomorrow is going to be that day. And I can tell you, tomorrow is going to be a very big news day because of the United States Supreme Court as we head into the weekend. So I'm just going to tell you, tomorrow you're going to want to tune in from wherever you are. Noon Eastern time. If you text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, we have a live stream, a 24/7 live stream. So from noon Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern, it's the live show. And from 3 p.m. until noon the next day, it's a repeat of the live show. Except on the weekend, it goes through until Monday. Now, this is important, and it is, again, because massive day tomorrow. Before we get into what they did today, let me just talk about what they're doing tomorrow. Free Speech Coalition versus Paxton. Concerning the proper standard of review for a First Amendment challenge to Texas's age verification law on porn sites. Texas requires verification of age to access pornography on the internet. A coalition of groups and pornographers is suing, saying that Texas cannot require an ID check. If you'll recall in the oral arguments, multiple justices said when a kid goes to, say, a gas station to buy a porno mag, they got to show their ID. Why shouldn't the internet be any different? By the way, Ed Whelan, a noted scholar on the Supreme Court, among other things, thinks that Clarence Thomas is probably going to write the case. Yeah, so the justices tend to have a set number of cases per month, and each justice is assigned an opinion that month based on who votes. So Thomas has not written all of his opinions that he should have written for January, which means this is probably his. There's also Louisiana versus Calais. Calais, it is a redistricting case about Louisiana and its congressional districts and majority-minority districts. There is also a very big case, FCC versus Consumers Research. FCC versus Consumers Research is what I'm particularly interested in. It's about the non-delegation power of Congress. The Supreme Court years ago ruled that Congress cannot delegate its key powers to the executive branch. and that includes the taxation power. Then the Supreme Court promptly forgot all about its non-delegation jurisprudence and started allowing the executive to do things the Supreme Court had long said it couldn't. The FCC versus Consumers Research case is an attempt to resurrect the non-delegation clause. This court seems most prone to want to do that, and so I'm hoping for a good win. The odds are, again, it's all based on who's written stuff. Justices Kavanaugh, Barrett, and Kagan have not written majority opinions for the month of March. My guess is that, and this is from Ed Whelan again, that Amy Coney Barrett writes the Louisiana case. That is her home state, and Kavanaugh is probably Consumers Research. And if Kavanaugh is writing the majority opinion on Consumers Research, I think the non-delegation concept is getting resurrected. There is then the Kennedy versus Braidwood management case. That's an apportionments clause challenge to the Preventative Services Task Force. And Mahmoud versus Taylor, that's the religious rights of parents. Can parents opt their children out of education in public schools if those things to be taught violate the parent's religion? Sam Alito has not written a majority opinion for the month of April when that case was argued, and Ed Whelan suspects that Sam Alito is writing the majority opinion of Mahmoud, and if that's the case, it's going to be a huge victory for the parents. And then there's a case from May you're very familiar with. Trump versus CASA. This is the birthright citizenship case and nationwide injunctions case. It's two issues. I will tell you what Ed Whelan thinks. He thinks the Chief Justice writes it, and he and I are of the same opinion. And whether Ed had written this or not, I would tell you it's my opinion. Don't expect the Supreme Court to rule on birthright citizenship. I don't think they're going to rule on birthright citizenship. In fact, if you go back to the oral arguments in May, the justices were far more focused on nationwide injunctions, universal injunctions from judges. Even Clarence Thomas was dismissive of the Trump administration's argument on birthright citizenship. I don't think birthright citizenship is going anywhere. Now, we have a couple people who have educated themselves on birthright citizenship, and they are convinced that the Wong Kim Ark case or whatever it is, that the court got it wrong, and this court's going to arrest it. I got to tell you, I think they're in the minority, and I disagree with them. I think that the court is going to preserve birthright citizenship ultimately, but I don't think they're going to deal with it tomorrow. I think they're going to deal with nationwide injunctions, and the reason is because the Trump administration was appealing a nationwide injunction on the birthright citizenship case, and the Supreme Court argument elevated the nationwide injunction portion of the argument ahead of the birthright citizenship portion. They barely argued about it at all in the court, with even Clarence Thomas dismissing the birthright citizenship argument, saying he wanted to focus on the nationwide injunction. So I suspect we're going to get a probably plurality opinion, or if not a unanimous opinion, from the Supreme Court on nationwide injunction. Well, it's not going to be unanimous, but it's probably going to be 6-3, maybe 7-3, maybe Elena Kagan steps in. But all of the conservative justices and Elena Kagan have argued in the past that there need to be restraint on nationwide injunction. So I suspect we're going to see that. Now, since it is, I suspect, the Chief Justice writing that opinion, that everything's going to be split. Then you may have a 5-4 on this and a 5-4 on something else and a 4-4-1 on something. It's going to be a messy one, probably, with the chief trying to thread the needle. Nonetheless, today there were 4 rulings. Most of those rulings are kind of inconsequential, you should know. One of them was very big. The case was Medina versus Planned Parenthood. The Supreme Court ruled by a vote of 6-3, written by Justice Gorsuch, all the 3 liberals in dissent, that private parties cannot challenge South Carolina on defunding Planned Parenthood. This is my buddy Dan McLaughlin writing at National Review. The conservative wins keep on coming at the Supreme Court, even as the court has done its best this term to narrow the scope of its decisions. This morning in Medina versus Planned Parenthood South Atlantic, the trend continued. The court In a 6-3 opinion by Neil Gorsuch, with the 3 liberal justices in dissent, threw out lawsuits challenging South Carolina's decision to defund Planned Parenthood from its Medicaid program. The court did not rule on the legality of the state's decision. Instead, the court confined itself to ruling that private parties cannot sue to challenge most state Medicaid funding decisions. If a state fails to comply with federal Medicaid rules, it is up to the federal government to enforce those rules. The court's decision reaffirms its rules strictly limiting private challenges to state spending of federal funds. Meanwhile, defunding the nation's largest abortion provider from Medicaid nationwide remains a live question in the Senate, which is debating whether to retain the House's defunding provisions in the One Big Beautiful Bill. While the Senate parliamentarian ruled that reconciliation could not be used to defund abortion under Obamacare plans, there has thus far been no such ruling on Medicaid, which is directly funded by the federal government. South Carolina is one of a number of states that have been fighting for years to defund Planned Parenthood. One might think that a government deciding not to spend its taxpayer dollars on what it considers murder of its residents would be a simple matter, but because Medicaid is a joint federal-state program, partially funded by both, states do not have unlimited flexibility in choosing what to fund. The state announced in mid-2018, 7 years ago and 4 years after Dobbs, that it was barring Planned Parenthood from its Medicaid program. It was promptly sued under 42 U.S.C. 1983 by Planned Parenthood and one of its clients. A district court injunction followed in 2020, then 2 decisions by the Fourth Circuit against the state before the court finally agreed to resolve the issue. Lawsuits charging states with violating federal law present 3 distinct questions before the court. Can reach merit on the legal question. 1, whether the plaintiff has Article 3 standing to sue. 2, whether the state has sovereign immunity. And 3, whether there's a law that creates a right to sue. Medina involved the 3rd question. The relevant portion of Section 1983, which originated with a Reconstruction-era civil rights law in 1871, says every person who, under color of any law of any state, subjects any citizens of the United States to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunity secured by the Constitution and laws shall be liable to the party injured in a civil lawsuit. Gorsuch today ruled that in a series of cases about Medicaid spending, the spending power allows Congress to offer funds to states that agree to certain conditions, but when a state violates those conditions, the remedy is not private enforcement, but federal government enforcement. In other words, the Supreme Court today said that South Carolina can defund Planned Parenthood through Medicaid unless the federal government objects. Planned Parenthood lost the case. Now, I got to tell you, most people actually presumed that Planned Parenthood was going to lose the case, given the composition of the court. It's a good one. It's a good decision. It's not the only decision today, though. There was an immigration decision as well, and Gorsuch found himself in the minority with the 3 progressive justices. And it's interesting to realize, and several commentators have now realized, that the Neil Gorsuch is very good on a lot of stuff, but he's actually pretty bad when it comes to immigration issues. And today was one of those days. Now, I can tell you, Carrie Servino points out today that today the court has decided rightly, let me just read you her tweet. She's from the Judicial Confirmation Network. The days of the abortion distortion are over. The court has long been skeptical of inventing new private rights of action, particularly in spending clause cases. Once upon a time, the fact that it was Planned Parenthood asking for an exception to be made would have meant a likely 5-4 win. Today it was a 6-3 defeat for Planned Parenthood. That is a big change in how the Supreme Court processes these cases. Hallelujah, hallelujah, amen. What the Supreme Court also ruled today in another big case today is that an immigrant, an illegal immigrant who's in the country, who applies to stay in the country under one body of laws that is ultimately rejected, does not then get to file and say, wait, let me try to stay under this separate section of law. So the Supreme Court today said, no, you got to pick. When you want to stay in the country, when you want to claim amnesty, you got to pick the body of laws under which you wish to claim amnesty. And if you're rejected, you don't get to then start over again and say, no, actually, now I want to argue under all of these. You don't get to do that. Justice Gorsuch, along with the liberal justices of the court, said the guy should be able to do it. But 5 of the justices, including the Chief Justice and Amy Coney Barrett, said, nope, you got to pick at the beginning. You pick your path. And if you pick the wrong path, you're stuck. So the guy claimed if he was deported back to Jamaica, he would be murdered by gangs in Jamaica. And he claimed asylum under torture law, anti-torture laws. And when he lost, ultimately he says, well, now I'm claiming asylum on something else. And the Supreme Court today said, nope, you got to choose your own adventure, but you got to start, and you can't jump from the path if you lose. It was also a big win for Trump. The amount of wins that Donald Trump is getting in this Supreme Court, and including Chief Justice Roberts, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, is huge. And he's going to get some big ones tomorrow, probably, too. Tomorrow, massive day of the Supreme Court. You're going to want to be here at noon. You're going to want to listen to the live stream at noon p.m. Eastern. Text ERIC, ERICK, to 33777 to get the link so you have it handy for noon Eastern tomorrow. Or you just go to ericerickson.com.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
121 Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Watching some volume on I-85 north and southbound between Dorville and Norcross. Trying to make your way anywhere between 285 and Jimmy Carter Boulevard. Luckily, just volume there. Looks like some trouble in the clearing stages out in Gwinnett County. Highway 78 westbound at Killian Hill Road. And if you're traveling downtown, you're on and off the brakes. 85 southbound just below 400 for the commute down toward North Avenue. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop sweet savings at Whole Foods Market. Get organic red cherries for $4.99 per pound with Prime through July 1st. While supplies last, shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 1 o'clock keyword is shop. That's shop, S-H-O-P. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword shop for your chance to win. You have until 1:59 to enter. Good luck.
Summer starts now at Beaver Toyota of Cumming. Dave Baker, host of the Home Fix-It Show here. Right now, Beaver Toyota is loaded with fresh inventory. They have the perfect Toyotas for your summer adventures, from road trips with your buddies to family trips to the beach, and they're offering huge savings, low financing, and all the Beaver benefits. See them on the web at beavertoyotacumming.com. The Toyota Tundra from Beaver Toyota of Cumming, the official truck of the Home Fix-It Show.
Listen up, because women have long waited for the world to recognize the importance of our health.
Northside Hospital goes beyond "we hear you" to "we're out here with you," because women deserve more than open ears.
They deserve open doors, and 1 ounce of action is worth 1,000 words.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work for you.
This is a house call. Heard. Learn more at northside.com/heard.
Oh, popsicle drips, muddy shoes, and summertime messes, don't let them take over your home. Call Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Zerorez uses their ZR water technology, no dirt-attracting soaps, no harsh chemicals, just a truly clean, healthy home. Right now, take advantage of their summer sale. Get 15% off all services, that is carpets, air ducts, rugs, tile, and more, all 15% off. Just mention Chris Chandler or book now at ZeroResAtlanta.com, and yeah, they do commercial cleaning too. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
If you are 50 or older, it is recommended that you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. If you're an adult 19 to 49 with certain underlying medical conditions like asthma, diabetes, chronic heart disease, or COPD, vaccination is also recommended. Talk to your doctor about vaccination today and learn more at lung.org/protectyourself. Furnished by the American Lung Association in collaboration with Pfizer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
It's Eric here, and with the election ended, there is change in the air. A new day dawns for American businesses. New regulations, new deregulation, new tax plan, new tax cuts. You may be smelling opportunity in the air. You may be seeing opportunity. Now is the time to consider reaching out to First Liberty Building and Loan and see if they might be able to help you put your plan that's in your head down to paper and see if they can help you capitalize on it. There are so many opportunities out there. If you need to borrow $750,000 or more, well, First Liberty might be able to help you. They make their own lending decisions. They've been doing it since the 90s. They know how to do it, and because the Frost family's been helping businesses since the 90s, they're still going to be there. You're not going to have lender rollover like you've had at other places. Reach out to them, firstlibertyga.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if you're a fit for them and them for you. FirstLibertyGA.com.
What is All Care? All Care is expert urgent care and primary care under a single roof, offering convenience and continuity for your healthcare needs. All Care is a team of physicians and clinicians who know you and your medical history, so they can provide the personalized care you deserve. And with both family and immediate care services offered 7 days a week, All Care means seeing your doctor on your schedule. 15 convenient locations, same-day appointments, and walk-ins welcome. Remember, urgent care plus primary care equals All Care. Learn more at allcare-ga.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Join Eric's army of activists and let your voice be heard. Text ARMY to 33777.
Greetings, conversationalists. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the phone on the show, the CNN is, they're beginning to backtrack. They had to bring on Brett McGurk, who was the Obama coordinator for the Middle East against Iran, and he worked for George W. Bush. He worked for Trump, and just listen.
What we now know from that briefing, first time we know it, is that as it was designed, as these massive ordnance penetrators with significant computer software engineering went directly down those 3 ventilator shafts, specifically as designed. And until you actually do it, you never know if it's going to work. It worked. It seems to have worked flawlessly. That is very important information. He also pointed out some things we take for granted. You know, a Patriot interceptor is traveling at 3,000 miles an hour, about Mach 4, to hit a ballistic missile, traveling at about 6,000 miles an hour, Mach 8. This is really difficult. We take for granted how this stuff all works. I thought that was very important to lay out. So as I come out of this briefing, I now know BDA level 2, as I mentioned. Level 1, first 24 hours, you're looking at imagery. Level 2, did the ordnance work? Did everything go as we had wanted? The answer now is yes. And we're now in the phase of level 3, collecting all sources of information, and then putting that together with nuclear experts to determine if they have these pieces and parts here, could they reconstitute them? With some political analysts to say, would the Iranians do that? What would be the restraints? To then have a comprehensive assessment of where we are.
Yeah. Turns out the initial CNN reporting was wrong, and they lied about it. They lied. They did lie. They're lying today. When we come back, we got some new data out on the 2024 election and about the Mamdani election this week, and it's very, very fascinating, the shifts in voters. We got to talk about it. But first, I need to tell you about Old Glory Bank. They're my bank. They can be your bank, too. OldGloryBank.com/Eric. You can go sign up with Old Glory Bank today, and you can become a you can become a customer. I told you about Old Glory Bank before. Founded by Ben Carson, Larry Elder, John Rich, they built an FDIC-insured bank. It backs the Constitution and stands unapologetically for the country. And now they're doing even more for those who serve. They've got premium checking. It's the same great account you've heard me talk about. But now, if you're a veteran, your monthly maintenance fee is waived. This is their top-tier account. It pays interest with no monthly fee for vets, just solid patriotic banking that respects your service and honors your sacrifice. No woke nonsense, no corporate virtue signaling. A bank that values what you value. So if you want this, if you're a veteran, You get a premium checking account with interest, no fees. Go to oldglorybank.com/salute. oldglorybank.com/salute. It's banking for patriots. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply. oldglorybank.com/salute.
If you have the WSB radio app,
All the notifications you
if
need.
you have the WSB app,
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
Breaking news in Cobb County.
All in one place.
We'll send out an alert on the WSB app.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it from your app store today. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
news,
Weather.
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. The Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices has just voted to recommend flu vaccines for just about every American, but the group says people should only be given shots free of an ingredient that anti-vaccine groups have tied to autism. Dr. Cody Meisner telling the committee.
My concern is that by insisting the multi-dose vials contain thimerosal, that might limit the availability of the influenza vaccine for some people.
Now, the 7-member panel earlier recommended a new RSV immunization for infants. Your weather for today, partly cloudy, hot and humid, some afternoon showers and storms, possible again today, highs around 95. We'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. The Georgia Department of Transportation's yellow Hero trucks, well, they're going to be rolling around the clock here on Metro Atlanta interstates. The agency announcing today that they're returning to 24/7 service 2 years after cutting hours due to staffing shortages. GDOT's Natalie Dale.
These individuals are out there day and night dealing with some of the worst of what we see on the roads.
Yeah, Hero units and drivers help clear the roads after traffic accidents, as well as give drivers help with things like flat tires or dead batteries. The Highway Emergency Response operators resume 24-hour service on nearly 400 miles of interstates in and around the Metro Atlanta area starting July 1st. International travelers can now take advantage of the new enhanced passenger processing kiosk at Hartsfield-Jackson International. In a matter of seconds, American citizens can get cleared through the customs process. Customs and Border Protection Area Port Director Clay Thomas telling WSB passengers are happy because the system cuts down on wait times.
I think at the end of the day, when they're less stressed because they're more time to make their connecting flight or see their loved ones who are waiting outside, of course they have a much more positive experience.
Yeah, the system is in place at 7 other airports around the U.S. It's 1:32.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and more people looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hey, it's Mark Aaron for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment. Now it's mainstream, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. They're well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now. 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026.
Did you know that eating healthier and more delicious food is not only good for you, but affordable as well? Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. At the Bread Beckers store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, delicious, and affordable solution for your family. Eating real bread will satisfy your hunger and greatly reduce the amount of food you need to eat. Plus, your improved health from eating real bread may even reduce the need for frequent doctor visits. That's what Real Bread did for our family. 2 doctor visits with 9 kids in 25 years. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, weight gain, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier, more affordable life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Bill, it's Eric. I know as a homeowner, you start seeing the cracks in the wall or the door start sticking. You wonder what's going on. You could have a foundation problem. Engineered Solutions of Georgia is the only foundation repair company in Georgia with licensed engineers on staff providing the highest quality of work. If you got concerns, reach out to them for a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
All right, live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams.
If you're in the brake lights trying to get off of 285 in Doraville Tucker area onto 85 North, hang in there. Crash pushed off to the right around Pleasantdale Road. 96, so all lanes are open there. If you're traveling toward the downtown area, we're still slow. 85 southbound from the 400 merge, trying to make that merge into Midtown, passing the North Avenue area, and 75 southbound in Cobb County, on and off the brakes, leaving Highway 5 in Marietta down to Truist Park. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot, and humid today. High 95. Watching for scattered pop-up showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon and the evening hours.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 1 o'clock keyword is shop. That's shop, S-H-O-P. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword shop for your chance to win. You have until 1:59 to enter. Good luck.
All right, we got to talk about some numbers now. There is some polling out from Pew Research, and I know. Some people, the reaction when you say polling is, oh, it's all wrong, it's all wrong, it's all wrong. Here's what happens. After the election is over, Pew Research goes out and talks to a massive, massive, massive number of voters. Some of you right now are yelling at the radio, at the speaker, saying, I wasn't one of them. It can't be true. Just because you didn't get surveyed doesn't mean people weren't surveyed, and they can survey enough people and do statistical sampling, and there's a lot of data, a great deal of data here that is actually very, very, very remarkable from Pew Research. Now, let me explain to you how they did the survey. I'm reading from Pew Research Center's website. Pew Research Center conducted this study to better understand which voters cast ballots in the 2024 presidential election and how they voted. We wanted to compare how turnout and voter choice differed from previous elections. Measuring turnout among different groups in the electorate is challenging. It's particularly difficult to assess changes in turnout. For the study, we surveyed U.S. adults on our nationally representative American Trends panel. We verified their turnout using commercial voter files that aggregate publicly available official state turnout records. The first analysis of validated voters was completed after the 2016 election. Turnout was validated for subsequent elections in 2018, 2020, 2022, and 2024. Each state in the District of Columbia compiles these publicly available turnout records as part of their routine election administration. To validate 2024 election turnout, we attempted to match adult citizens who were part of the panel to turnout records in at least one of three commercial voter files, one that serves conservative and Republican organizations, one that serves progressive and Democrat organizations, and one that's nonpartisan. A member of the panel is considered a validated voter for a given election if they told us they voted and were recorded as having voted in at least one of the three commercial voter files. Those who said they did not vote in an election are considered non-voters. The survey is weighted to be representative of the U.S. They interviewed 36,000 adults. 36,000 adults were interviewed to get the sampling. They verified that the voters actually voted based on Republican, Democratic, and nonpartisan sources. And if you are a Democrat, you should be very concerned about what they found. Because it shows what I've been warning you was happening. Let's look at the voting pattern among naturalized citizens. That is, citizens who were born in another country and got their citizenship in the United States. In 2020, Joe Biden won Hispanic voters by 19 points. Joe Biden won Asian voters by 30 points. And he won white, non-Hispanic voters by 15 points. And again, we're talking about people who were not born in the country. Talking about people who were not born in the United States. Joe Biden won white immigrants by 15 points, Hispanic immigrants by 19 points, and Asian immigrants by 30 points. Fast forward to 2024. Kamala Harris lost white immigrants by 16 points. From a 15-point for Joe Biden to 16 points for Trump. There was a swing from a 19 percentage points for Joe Biden for Hispanic voters to 3 points for Donald Trump. Donald Trump won immigrant Hispanic voters by 3 points. Kamala Harris, you got to keep in mind, is the first Jamaican Indian person to run for president. Her mother's Jamaican, or her mother is from India, her father's from Jamaica. She's Asian and Caribbean. She is black and Indian. Joe Biden won Asian voters by 30 points. Kamala Harris won them by 5. To put this into better perspective, in 2020, the Democrats won actual Americans, Native Americans, real born in the USA Americans by 3 points. Donald Trump won them by 2 this time. Among immigrants, the Democrats won by 21 points in 2020 and only 4 points in 2024. Pretty striking. Naturalized U.S. citizens fled countries, many of which are socialist, and they really, really, really did not do well with Kamala Harris. There's more data, though, than just that. 85% of Donald Trump's 2020 voters voted for him again in 2020. Democrats saw a collapse. 15% of Joe Biden's 2020 voters did not turn out to vote for him in 2024. 12% of voters who did not vote in 2020 but did in 2024 voted for Kamala Harris. Wasn't enough. Americans who didn't vote in 2016 but did in 2020 supported Biden by 5 points. Americans who didn't vote in 2020 but did in 2024 supported Trump by 12 points. Let me give you the breakdown in Donald Trump's support among demographics 2016 to 2024. Donald Trump went up 1 point with white voters, 9 points with black voters, 20 points with Hispanic voters, and 10 points with Asian voters. Donald Trump declined with white men by 3 points, was up 4 with white women from 2020 to now, up 9 points with black men, 5 points with black women, 11 points with Latino men, 13 points with Latino women. Donald Trump increased by 11 points with 18 to 29-year-olds, 8 points with 30 to 49-year-olds, 5 points with 50 to 64-year-olds, and was down 2 points with people over 65 and older. Men aged 18 to 49 saw a swing to Donald Trump by 3 points. Men 50 years and older saw a swing to Donald Trump by 1 point. Women 18 to 49 years old saw a 15-point swing towards Donald Trump, and women over 50 saw a 2-point swing to him. Pretty impressive, particularly given how Kamala Harris's vote share mostly came from women. Black voters with a college degree went from Joe Biden in 2020 to Donald Trump in 2024 by 8 points, swung 8 points his direction, still lost a majority of them, but picked up 8 points better than he did in 2020, 7 points with blacks without a college degree. Hispanics with a college degree, Donald Trump did 13 points better now than he did in 2020. Hispanics without a college degree, 11 points better. Now, he was already doing quite well with Hispanics without a college degree. Among Protestants, Trump improved from 2020 to now with 6 more points. White evangelicals, 6 points. Catholics, 3 points. Unaffiliated voters, 4 points. People who go to church monthly or more often, 6 points. A few times a year or less, 5 points. Black Protestants, 6 points improvement for Trump. Non-white Protestants, a 15-point improvement. Latino Catholics, a 10-point improvement. Those born in the USA, a 2-point improvement. Immigrants, a 9-point improvement. It's just, it's a huge, huge, huge swing to Donald Trump. Now, notice it's to Trump, not to the Republicans. But what can we make in this? Let's go back to Mamdani in New York, the Democratic nominee. I said yesterday that he lost Hispanics. That's not true. He won Hispanics against Andrew Cuomo, but barely, only by a couple points. Black voters in New York City voted for Andrew Cuomo. The majority of black voters in the Democratic primary voted for Andrew Cuomo, not Mamdani. In fact, people who immigrated from socialist countries favored Andrew Cuomo. A lot of anti-immigration people are making the claim that Mamdani could have never gotten elected except New York's become such a diverse city. Actually, if white people in New York City could not have voted, Mamdani would have lost. Mamdani won because of progressive white people. That's why he won. Truth. He won because of progressive whites. The anti-immigration activists are trying to obfuscate the data, but the data is people who fled from socialism don't want a socialist. South Asians voted for Mamdani. That they're the only ethnic group that overwhelmingly supported him. With Hispanic voters, it was within the margin of error of just a couple of points. Black voters overwhelmingly for Cuomo. Latino voters who fled socialism overwhelmingly voted for Andrew Cuomo, according to the exit polling. White progressives helped Mamdani get elected. This is a problem for Democrats nationwide because white progressives, they may fill up urban enclaves, but nowhere else. White progressives are not representative in the suburbs or the ex-urban areas or the rural areas of the country. It's just they move into urban enclaves, they gentrify black neighborhoods, they drive up the property values, black neighbors start to resent them, and the black neighbors become Republicans. This is what's happening. There are so many warning signs for Democrats that for years they said the Republican Party was the party of white people. Non-white people are rapidly shifting to the GOP as white voters are increasingly, particularly college-educated white voters, are increasingly becoming Democrats. College-educated voters are increasingly becoming Democrats, and increasingly everyone else is moving to the GOP. It is notable that the shift is for Donald Trump. However, these voters are starting to vote Republican elsewhere. And that's going to be interesting in the New York City race. If Eric Adams or someone else can mount a credible challenge to Mamdani, do these voters turn out and vote for Eric Adams or for a Republican? But in South Texas, even in places like New Mexico and Arizona, these Hispanic voters who voted for Donald Trump, they're starting to vote Republican for everything else too. Why? Because the Democratic Party is becoming too fringe. The Democratic Party is so embracing socialism, these voters who fled socialist regimes are running away from them into the arms of the GOP. It's something that is fixated on Donald Trump. The media is fixating on it being they're voting for Trump, but they're actually sticking around to vote for other Republicans. If that continues to hold, it's the Democratic Party that becomes the party of white people and is wiped out. For years and years and years and years, Democrats told themselves the GOP was the party of white people. They were the party of immigrants and the party of class. And that turns out not to be true at all. Turns out there's been a major realignment happening in the country, and the Democrats are caught flat-footed on it as they continue to nominate a bunch of white progressives. Events change things, and we're watching the parties change before our eyes. And it's not that the GOP is abandoning conservatism. It's that the Democrats are abandoning moderation, and that's scaring the hell out of a lot of people who would otherwise vote for them. Americans for Prosperity would like to get you on board with them. They generated 300,000 phone calls to members of Congress last week and tens of thousands of visits to congressional offices with their army of grassroots activists pushing the House and the Senate on Donald Trump's tax plan. They want responsible, common-sense reforms, and they want to get your voice heard. They want to get you involved. If you go to AmericansForProsperity.org today, you can learn about AFP, but where they'd really like you to go is ProtectProsperity.com. ProtectProsperity.com is a fantastic website where you can be plugged in and engaged and get active with Americans for Prosperity. You can talk to your members of Congress. You can reach out to your senators. You can be engaged in fighting for common sense solutions. And you can be right now engaged in getting Senate Republicans to fall in line and advance across the country for common sense tax reform. Go to ProtectProsperity.com today. Sign up with AFP. Become one of their army of activists and have your voice heard by Congress, your state legislature, and your local government. ProtectProsperity.com.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Cool Day Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center picked up a crash heading into Midtown. It's blocking the HOV lane, partially blocking it. It'll definitely get blocked when authorities arrive on scene. This is I-85 southbound just below Georgia 400. Adding to brake lights as you head toward Midtown and downtown. Northbound on 75-85, you're sluggish from Highway 166 up toward Freedom Parkway. And the right lane construction in the cab still there, 20 eastbound before Panola Road. Traffic brought to you by the International Hot Rod Association. Nitro's back. The IHRA Outlawed Nitro Series is lighting up the track. Nitro Nation, grab your tickets now at IHRA.com. That's IHRA.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 1 o'clock keyword is SHOP. That's SHOP, S-H-O-P. Go to WSBRadio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword SHOP for your chance to win. You have until 1:59 to enter. Good luck. Hey, y'all, it's Eric Erickson here. Do you know the difference between strategy and tactics? As somebody who ran campaigns, I always find people sometimes they engage in tactics. We steer the ship left and then right, starboard, port, left, right, slow down, speed up. But do you make sense of it? The strategy is the overall picture of how you want to accomplish your goal. And then the tactics are the individual things you do to accomplish the strategy to meet your goal. And when you're dealing with your retirement, you need a financial advisor who understands that. That's David Nicholas, Nicholas Wealth Management. My wife and I actually sat down with David and mapped out our goals for the future and our retirement and realized that we had engaged in a series of tactics, but we really didn't have a comprehensive overall strategy that made it work. You want a comprehensive overall strategy so that when you hit retirement, well, you've met your goals. And David Nicholas can help you do that. You sit down with David today, and he can give you a free wealth analysis. Christy and I did this with him. You can do this with him, and you're going to get a strategy. You're not just going to have a financial advisor who's deploying a bunch of tactics without the overall strategy to get you to meet your goal. Talk to David and his team at nicholaswealth.com. Call them at 678-990-8500. That's 678-990-8500 or nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. Eric Erickson is a current client and is paid for this ad. No one in Georgia treats more kids with cancer and blood disorders, and no one in the Southeast is doing more to advance pediatric cancer research. The Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta cares for thousands of patients each year and offers access to hundreds of clinical trials to kids whose survival depends on new treatment. Listen July 24th and 25th to the 25th annual 95.5 WSB Carathon and support research to find cures. Visit choa.org/carathon to make a donation today.
Hey, if you got weekend plans, make sure your home is ready for them. I called Wise Guys Pro Wash and boom, the house, driveway, and patio were spotless. They even cleaned the roof. I didn't even have to be home. They are truly professionals using the top equipment in the industry, and their soft washing kept my home safe and damage-free, and the results, incredible. Wise Guys has more than 2,000 five-star reviews, and I know why now. So mention me, Chris Chandler, for $70 off your next service. Book today at wiseguysprowash.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Those wire shelves in your closet are just a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Dave Baker for Artisan Custom Closets. At Artisan, we see it all the time. The wire shelves come crashing down. Clothes, shoes, bags are everywhere. It's a disaster zone. Save yourself before this happens to you. With a custom, spacious closet from Artisan, you'll never have to look at that clutter again. Your shoes, bags, clothes, accessories, all neatly organized and designed to stay that way. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Greetings. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. Glad to have you with me. 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be a part of the program, I would be happy to have you. I need to let you know this is kind of a funny story. This is in the Wall Street Journal. The simmering feud between President Trump and Elon Musk is producing a potential winner, Jeff Bezos, who's been reaching out to Donald Trump, trying to get in his good graces about Blue Origin, his space project. Oh, the vanities of billionaires. Y'all, I have partnered with, and I don't do a live read for them, but I would be remiss if I did not point this out. I do ads for Americans United for Life. They're one of the oldest pro-life groups in the country. And the Supreme Court today handed a big victory down for pro-lifers, saying that Planned Parenthood does not get the right to sue states that want to defund them by cutting Medicaid funding. Now, what the court did was say if Congress wants to, or the federal government wants to intervene and argue about defunding Planned Parenthood, they can. That's not going to happen with Donald Trump. But individuals don't have a right to sue and demand that programs be funded under Medicaid. That's between the state and the federal government. It's a big win because South Carolina wants to defund Planned Parenthood, and Americans United for Life, very proud of this group. They have been involved in every Supreme Court decision in this country since Roe v. Wade, and they were involved in the Dobbs decision, and they were involved in this case. One of the things that really sets them apart from a lot of groups is they think pretty strategically about not just laws, but lawsuits and how to be engaged. So just kudos to Americans United for Life. Very proud to support them. Glad to have them as an advertiser. I was told that I should not have groups like Americans United for Life as an advertiser on this program because it could be alienating to the progressives in charge of certain radio companies. And I just don't care because it's a great group. And if I get penalized for supporting a group that does good work, then I'm okay with that because I don't know that I'd want to do business with people who would be mad at me for supporting a group like AUL. So I'm glad to support them, and I am really, really glad with the Supreme Court case today. It sounds like a bit of a nothing burger when you say, well, the federal government could still intervene, but you got to remember this. If South Carolina cuts off the funding today to Planned Parenthood, and the Trump administration gives them permission to do so, a future Democratic administration is not allowed to come in and say, oh, we've changed our mind, now you can't do that. Because once they've been given permission by the feds, that permission can't be walked back. It's one thing for the feds to say you must do it, and a new government comes in, new administration, and they change their mind and say you don't have to spend money. But once a state's been told it does not have to spend money on a Medicaid program, the federal government, without a change in law, can't come in and make them now start spending money again. So it's a very big win for South Carolina. And the pro-life groups, including the Alliance Defending Freedom, which I'm a big fan of, they really led the case. They originated the case. But AUL, Americans United for Life, amicus briefs and the like played a role there. And so I'm just delighted to see these pro-life groups still getting big wins. When we come back, some really big data you're not hearing about that you need to hear about on the Trump economy that's really good.
Got a leaky pipe? Trouble with your AC? Ace Hardware Home Services now has the trusted pros to fix it. From plumbing to cooling, we'll keep your home running smoothly all year long. Visit acehardwarehomeservices.com or call 770-233-7787.
If you drive a Mercedes, BMW, Land Rover, or any European import, come see us at Rocco's European Garage. Better value than the dealership, honest and all-in pricing with customer approval prior to us beginning, and our services won't void the manufacturer's warranty. Rocco's European Garage.
Hey, homeowners, it's Eric Erickson. You wouldn't trust Mac with a jack to fix your home's sinking foundation problem, would you? I certainly wouldn't. Serious issues need serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, so are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Hey, Friday starting at 5 a.m. on Atlanta's Morning News. Our exclusive 5-day forecast helps you plan your weekend. Breaking metro stories and triple team traffic get you to work on time. Plus, Clark Howard's reality check if you're looking to go on a cruise. And we'll wrap up the president's dramatic week in our Friday chat with CBS's Nancy Cordes at the White House. Join us starting at 5 o'clock for Atlanta's Morning News on 95.5 WSB.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story, a fireball and a boom. That's what people across Metro Atlanta are reporting this afternoon. It may be a meteor burning up in the atmosphere. Meteorologist Christina Edwards tells me there are annual meteor showers this time of the year, and the American Meteor Society says more than 120 reports of a fireball have been spotted just before 12:30 this afternoon. It is 89 degrees in Atlanta, watching for a few pop-up showers and storms this afternoon and this evening. Christina has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. New flu vaccine recommendations from a CDC advisory panel.
The new panel, appointed by Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., voted to recommend against flu vaccines containing the preservative thimerosal. And for children,
ACIP recommends children 18 years and younger receive seasonal influenza vaccine only in single-dose formulations that are free of thimerosal as a preservative.
some public health officials are worried that some of the panel's decisions could make vaccines less accessible and more expensive for millions of Americans. Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
New this hour, Clayton County Police announce an arrest in the murder of a 17-year-old who was shot and killed outside of Jonesboro Kroger last night. Yahiko West is now in custody for the shooting of Keadrian Gordon. He died after he was shot multiple times outside the Terra Boulevard store. Witnesses report hearing 4 gunshots before seeing a vehicle leaving the area. A 20-year-old man on the Atlanta Police Department's most wanted list is arrested in a more than 2-year-old homicide case. APD also releases 911 audio from the shooting on Allegheny Street in southwest Atlanta.
There's a man lying dead and shot in the street, I believe. I saw a fight in the car across the street from my house, and then I heard gunshots.
Jaquez Harvey was taken into custody by MARTA police yesterday. He is the second person facing charges in this case. Blaine Stafford was arrested for an unrelated charge last month. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth gives an update today on the U.S. military strikes in Iran.
President Trump directed the most complex and secretive military operation in history, and it was a resounding success, resulting in a ceasefire agreement and the end of the 12-day war.
But Iran's supreme leader says the U.S. achieved nothing from its military strikes on his nation. It is now 2:02, and this news is sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and more people looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hey, it's Mark Aaron for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment. Now it's mainstream, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. Their well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now. 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026.
Thanks for calling Reliable Heating and Air.
Hi, yeah, my AC just died, and I live in Watkinsville, Georgia. Do you guys come out this far?
Yep, we have over 300 techs all over the greater Macon, Atlanta, and Athens area, and we can fix it fast.
Great, but replacing it's going to be super expensive, right?
How does $69.99 a month sound?
Wow!
Get any size air conditioner from Reliable for only $69.99 a month with zero down, our lifetime warranty, and guaranteed next day installation, or we pay you $500. Go to reliableair.com.
Have you ever had a bad experience getting repair work done on your European car? You need to get to know Wolf Pen Auto Repair at Roswell for honest estimates with honest pricing by factory certified techs for work on your Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, or BMW. Search Wolf Pen Auto Repair and see the difference.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Limit 8. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Selling and buying a home doesn't have to be a juggling act. With Orchard, you get cash up front to buy your next place, then more cash when your old home sells. Start with a free home valuation at orchard.com. That's orchard.com.
At 2:05, Alex Williams in the 24-hour traffic center.
Better news heading toward Midtown. Crash cleared out of the HOV lane, 85 southbound below the Georgia 400 merge, but you're going to stay slow as you make the drive to the connector southbound all the way down to North Avenue. And a new crash in Marietta. It's in the northbound express lane, 75 north the express lanes right at Windy Hill Road, exit 260, right lane blocked there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Epwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 95 with a few pop-up storms through the afternoon and evening hours. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up storms, high 93. Saturday, partly cloudy, high 91 with afternoon storms continuing into the evening hours.
89 in Snellville, 84 Villa Rica, 89 in Woodstock. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 2 o'clock keyword is summer. That's summer, SUMMER. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB radio app and enter the keyword summer for your chance to win. You have until 2:59 to enter. Good luck. Construction. Outside my office window, they're building a bridge over the interstate. They're also doing construction of the interstate, and it sounded like when they allow the back of a dump truck to fall open and it just kind of booms, makes a boom sound, and kind of echoey. And I looked out to see, and there was nothing there. There's a dump truck going over right now, but at the time there wasn't. They certainly weren't open. It turns out that there's been a meteor passing through the atmosphere over the southeast. There are reports all over Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina of a big boom. About the time that I heard that boom and looked out my window, I'm assuming that's what I heard. All over central Georgia, North Georgia, Atlanta, South Carolina, the Greenville area, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, that area. Everybody's getting it appears that the meteorite entered the atmosphere somewhere over South Carolina, and it was caught on a couple of car dashboard cameras. So if you're in the southeast United States and about an hour ago you heard a boom and you're not sure what it was a meteor caught on a dash camera of a car driving down the interstate on I-85 headed towards South Carolina. Just wow, that's really cool. There's a data point. I'm shocked to see this in the New York Times. I'm shocked to see it. And yet, I got to credit the New York Times. It's there that I saw the report. Now, it's not on the pages of the New York Times. It's in an email in the New York Times. So one of those emails that comes out every once in a while from the New York Times, the Andrew Ross Sorkin emails that come out, that's the economics email that you got to be a subscriber to know it. I looked. It's not at CNN, or it's not at CNBC. Can't find it at CNBC. It's not there. Let me check now. Wall Street Journal. That NASDAQ, S&P move towards records. That's good. Grilled steak to explain the energy suck of AI. I don't know. You know, Joanna Stern does really good work at the Wall Street Journal, just as an aside. The grill and steak with technology. I'm looking up. Anna Wintour is stepping down as editor of Vogue. There's your big story. Got the Scotty Cameron putters. You know, I don't see it. I don't see it at the Wall Street Journal. You would think it would be at the Wall Street Journal, of all places, that they would cover this. U.S. housing sales slump, conflict in the Middle East. Now let me go to their economy page and see. Powell isn't Trump's only holdout against cuts in a divided Fed. German consumers grow more cautious. New York voters to make their housing shortage worse. Conflict in the Middle East. Trump considers naming new Fed chair early. Stable coins fall. Canada inflation steady. Powell reaffirms wait and see. There's housing. I don't see the story there. It's only in a newsletter at the New York Times. And if you're not a subscriber to the newsletter, you don't know about it. Well, if you're a listener to the Eric Erickson Show, you're going to learn about it. It's compelling, good news. Notice, you know and I know darn well if Joe Biden were president, this would be the front page everywhere, front page story. It's only buried in a newsletter for subscribers of the New York Times. Here's the headline. Summer gas prices haven't been this low since 2021. Summer road trips appear to be safe from a big spike in gasoline prices. The national average price of gasoline has hovered around $3.20 a gallon this week after Israel and Iran agreed to a ceasefire in the conflict that drew in the United States. The price of regular gasoline, as tracked by AAA, was only a few cents higher than the national average a month ago before Israel began its attack on Iran in an attempt to set back the country's nuclear program. It's more than 20 cents lower than a year ago. The last time the cost for drivers was lower in late June was in 2021 when the pandemic depressed demand for the fuel. Gas prices are usually higher during the summer months when demand rises as Americans get in their cars for vacations and to see family. AAA expects the travel for the 4th of July, which this year falls on a Friday, will be record-breaking. Next week, 72.2 million Americans are expected to travel domestically. AAA projects that nearly 62 million of them will do so in cars, 2.2% more than in 2024. People are still prioritizing the travel itself, says Keelan Howell, a spokeswoman for the Motor Club. Taking vacations, taking those trips is still really important to a lot of Americans. Oil prices, which play a big role in the cost of gasoline, jumped sharply after Israel attacked Iran, with the global oil price known as Brent jumping 7%. But those prices fell this week and are more or less back to where they were before the attack. Brent was trading around $64 a barrel on Wednesday. Have you all heard this? It's good news. It's good economic news. By the way, I'm starting to think we're going to see some price increases show up because of tariffs. I've been doing some, I do my afternoon, the 4 things to know now, because there tend to be 3 to 4 things that crop up in the afternoon as the show wraps up that I don't get a chance to get to. And so I do a new show in the afternoon. It's like 5 minutes. The 4 things you need to know this afternoon before you get home from work. If you look up 4 Things to Know This Afternoon by Eric Erickson, you'll find it in your favorite podcast app. You can get it on YouTube. And over the last week, there have been a couple of stories. There have been probably a story every day about how toy prices are going up. Retailers are trying to, in fact, this is a story I did yesterday. Retailers are trying to turn around returned items as quickly as possible, particularly returned items that were purchased before tariffs so they can get it back on the shelf for cheap. So people are essentially, you return a shirt to your local store where you bought it from. They want to turn around and get it back on the shelf as quickly as possible. Stores are now putting more money into returns, particularly returns that were purchased before the tariffs went into effect, because they're cheaper and they want to get those out there for consumers. Walmart, Home Depot, others starting to raise prices because of tariffs. However, Because gas prices are going down, the reduction in gas prices are going to offset some of the tariff increase. So I actually think when we get the July numbers, while we will see prices going up in some areas, like toys have gone up 2.2%. Inflation overall is up 0.1%. Toy prices are up 2.2% month over month. That's extraordinarily high for year over year. My guess is that we're going to weather the tariff storm okay because the economy is otherwise doing so well. As gas prices go down, food prices go down. Food prices tend to be more sensitive to gas prices than most other products because the food has to be trucked to the grocery store. The food has to be trucked from the farm to the processor, from the processor to the grocery store. That's a lot of fuel. The combines and harvesters. The butchers, when they're trucking the cows to the butchery, to the slaughterhouse. So when gas prices go down, food prices get to go down too. And so my guess is what we're going to see in July is an offset from tariffs. It's not going to be as bad as I and others were thinking. We're still going to see some of it in the data. But that should actually give the Federal Reserve room to be able to lower interest rates. And then that's going to keep the economy going. I think we're probably going to miss a recession right now, the way the data looks. Now, there are warning signs. There are actually warning signs. Majority of Americans right now, not a plurality, but a majority of Americans are underwater on mortgages right now. That's a terrible sign for the long-term health of the economy. Number of people increasing defaults and repossessions on cars is up. That suggests economic weakness. There actually is a lot of economic weakness out there, and that economic weakness combined with probably the reduction in the cost of gas, being able to offset the tariffs, all of that should encourage rate drops by the Federal Reserve, I think. In fact, Powell is seeming to suggest they may be able to get one done in July. People were thinking September. I hope that's the case. But y'all, I would just note, I looked. I'm a pretty well-informed guy. I do my own show prep. Philip and Charlie and Fisher, they help me with filling in the blanks on stuff, but I do my own show prep. And I've looked on the actual printed page of the New York Times. There is not a story about gas prices being as low as since 2021. The Wall Street Journal, it's not there. CNBC, it's not there. CNN, it's not there. The LA Times, it's not there. The Washington Post, it's not there. It's one newsletter that you've got to subscribe to for content at the New York Times is reporting gas prices are down. And that's a remarkably good thing, particularly we've had a war in the Middle East. We haven't just had the Israel-Iran situation. We've had the Israel-Gaza situation, the Israel-Hamas situation, which has a destabilizing effect as well. We've had the Houthi in the Red Sea disrupting shipping traffic. That gas prices are as low as they were since COVID is a really big deal, and it's good for the economy. It's good for prices. It's good for consumers. The only people it's bad for are the wackadoo environmentalists like Greta Thunberg. It's not a bad thing. And, again, I think the media would be more willing to celebrate news like this if Joe Biden were president. Concurrent to all this, I'm just checking right now. I mean, the markets are soaring today. Dow's up, the NASDAQ is up, the S&P 500 is up. That's great news in and of itself. The economic warning signs are there. We should keep in mind the economic warning signs are there. But we should also note things are doing pretty good in our economy. We've got steady hands. We have adults in the room. And the thing that really sets Trump and his administration apart is that the majority of the people who work in Donald Trump's cabinet are people who worked in the private sector. The majority of the people Donald Trump has put in charge of the economy, his Council of Economic Advisors, National Economic Director, things like that, those are people who worked in the private sector. Under Joe Biden, 75 to 80% of the people who advised Joe Biden on everything, not just the economy, had worked in the nonprofit sector. They never had to make a payroll. They never had to know the stresses of business. They relied on donors. They relied on largesse. They worked in academia. They didn't have to worry about it. And Joe Biden shaped a largely capitalist private sector economy with the advice of people who knew nothing about it. whether you're Howard Lutnick or you're the Secretary of Treasury, whether you're Kevin Hassett, Scott Bessent in Treasuries, Kevin Hassett, they've all had jobs in the private sector. They've all been financiers. Trump is surrounded with people from the private sector. And in being surrounded with the private sector, he's getting good advice. And here we are. We're in June, headed into the 4th of July, the busiest travel weekend of the summer, and gas prices are down. Gas prices should be up, but gas prices are down. And that's good for the economy. It's good for inflation. It's good for all of us. And the national media has buried the news story because it also happens to be a story that's good for Donald Trump. And God forbid Donald Trump get any credit for this. What was Donald Trump's response the other day, though? Drill, baby, drill. Drill here, drill now, drill to American companies. And now, by the way, Shell and BP are looking at a merger as well. Economies of scale, making them more efficient. Believe it or not, mergers in the gas industry actually drive prices down because they get economies of scale that you and I can't get at their size. It's good for them. It's good for us. The regulators should let this one go through, and that, too, will help lower the cost of gas.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Slow up into Suwanee, but good news. They blocked all lanes briefly. 85 northbound near Old Peachtree. Got some debris out of the roadway, so everything's back open there. What's not open are the express lanes in Marietta. 75 northbound at Windy Hill Road, exit 260. Although both of the express lanes are shut down trying to clear a crash. Use the I-75 through lanes, and that'll get you around that. Traffic brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. This is how we advance. NASCAR fans, meet Ryan Blaney June 27th at noon at Advance Auto Parts in Jonesboro. First 150 get a photo with Ryan, plus free Kona Ice. This is how we advance. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 2 o'clock keyword is summer. That's summer, S-U-M-M-E-R. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword summer for your chance to win. You have until 2:59 to enter. Good luck.
Only inches separate you from the heavy rain trying to infiltrate your home. If your old roof is leaking, think of Findlay First for a remarkable roof replacement. Schedule a free roof analysis. FindlayRoofing.com.
Roof, roof. I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelly Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for the Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday noon to 1 right here on 95.5 WSB.
If you are 50 or older, it is recommended that you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. If you're an adult 19 to 49 with certain underlying medical conditions like asthma, diabetes, chronic heart disease, or COPD, vaccination is also recommended. Talk to your doctor about vaccination today and learn more at lung.org/protectyourself. Furnished by the American Lung Association in collaboration with Pfizer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Summer is peak hosting season, right? Don't let a grimy house keep you from having company over. It's Chris Chandler, and Wise Guys Pro Wash got my place clean and bright and guest ready in just one day. They handle everything, house and deck, driveway, even my dirty roof, and their soft wash kept everything safe. No paint peel, no damage, just clean. If you got people coming over this summer, be sure Wise Guys Pro Wash comes by first. Mention me, Chris Chandler, for $70 off at wiseguysprowash.com. Book now before they fill up.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Text ARMY to 33777 now.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program. I saw Abigail Schreier note this. Israel killed 30 Iranian generals in 12 days. The United States lost fewer generals in World War II and World War I combined. That's impressive. Also, 40-plus scientists killed, nuclear scientists. L.A. County, Bell Gardens, have decided to cancel the 4th of July celebration because of immigration enforcement. Out of an abundance of caution regarding concerns for resident safety over federal immigration enforcement activities, the city of Bell Gardens will be canceling the scheduled events between June 24th and July 10th, including the movie nights on June 26th and July 10th, as well as the Independence Day celebration. All other programming, such as Summer Day Camp, will continue. So no fireworks spectacular in Bell Garden, California, because these people are absolutely broken. Just pathetic. You know, as an aside, one of the reasons, I don't think I've articulated this on the show. I wrote about it in my Substack, and I've written it online. The most compelling reason I had in 2024 to support Donald Trump over Kamala Harris was because our 250th birthday as a nation is going to be next year. This year, we're 249 years old as a country, 250 years next year. Can you imagine? If we got to 250 years and Kamala Harris is in charge, the amount of insufferable things we would have to sit through as a nation, the censorious lectures of the left. Kids in school would be asked to study the hermaphroditical transgender midgets of America and their role in the Revolutionary War. Adults would be asked to name the 5 or 6 lesbians who participated in sewing Betsy Ross's flag, even though you didn't know. The insufferability of it would just be too much. It was all a reason to vote for Donald Trump. The party that he's going to throw is going to be great. What's also great is the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, and you should go get them right now. In fact, before next week, when your kids come in smelling smoky from the fireworks, you'll be able to eliminate the smell. You go to EdenPureDeals.com and you put in the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. You get 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms. You get one for upstairs, one for downstairs, one for your basement, one for your travel bag, one for your RV, wherever you need them. And they wipe out odors. They get rid of dust, pollen, smoke. They get rid of smoke odors. They get rid of every odor. They get rid of bacteria and viruses. It's phenomenal. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3. You don't have a filter subscription either. They're filterless, and they just work. They pull air through. They trap all the particulate matter. They generate ozone, which wipes out every odor, litter box odors, dirty diaper odors, smoke odors, you name it. You can use them in a hotel room. You can use them in your RV, wherever you need them. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3.
More local news.
The employee at a Walmart in Covington is in custody. Atlanta companies already warning of turbulence in the economy.
More traffic.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
40 minutes to head up the connector.
More weather.
We may be seeing this tornado strengthening.
Atlanta's morning news.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Newton County authorities crediting the Georgia State Patrol.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News.
Weather.
Traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story, a fireball and a boom in metro Atlanta. That's what people are reporting this afternoon. It may be a meteor burning up in the atmosphere. Meteorologist Christina Edwards says there are annual meteor showers this time of the year. The American Meteor Society says it's received more than 120 reports of a fireball spotted just before 12:30 this afternoon. A CDC advisory committee votes in favor of flu vaccine recommendations today. The group says people should only be given shots free of an ingredient anti-vaccine groups have tied to autism. Committee member Vicki Pebsworth abstains from the vote.
We should not be doing anything that restricts access to vaccines of any sort, especially those that are already approved by the FDA and that are already in the schedule.
Some public health officials are worried some of the panel's decisions could make vaccines less accessible and more expensive for millions of Americans. The Georgia DOT's yellow Hero trucks will be rolling around the clock again in Metro Atlanta on Metro Atlanta interstates.
These individuals are out there day and night dealing with some of the worst of what we see on the road.
The DOT's Natalie Dale says the 24/7 service returns 2 years after cutting hours due to staffing shortages. A ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court today opens the door for Georgia and other conservative states to go after Planned Parenthood. In a 6-3 ruling, the court allows South Carolina to block Medicaid money from going to the organization for services that are not related to abortion. Bill, it's 2:31. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. A question I get all the time is, how did we become the largest injury firm in the world? We have over 1,000 lawyers in all 50 states and close to 6,000 coworkers. Our call center is on duty 24/7. You can reach us at any time at forthepeople.com. But the real reason is we won a lot. When you visit our website, go to our verdicts and settlements. There you will see what our clients were offered and what they were awarded at trial. All those verdicts help us resolve many cases fairly and early. You see, nothing beats reputation. The insurance industry knows who we are. We even have insurance adjusters call us for representation because they know too. We've made it easy. On your mobile device or computer, go to forthepeople.com and we will get busy. It's that easy. Call today. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, if you got weekend plans, make sure your home is ready for them. I called Wise Guys Pro Wash and boom, the house, driveway, and patio were spotless. They even cleaned the roof. I didn't even have to be home. They are truly professionals using the top equipment in the industry, and their soft washing kept my home safe and damage-free, and the results, incredible. Wise Guys has more than 2,000 five-star reviews, and I know why now. So mention me, Chris Chandler, for $70 off your next service. Book today at wiseguysprowash.com.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Still seeing this crash in the northwest express lanes. I-75 northbound, the express lanes at Windy Hill Road, exit 260, just a left shoulder squeaking by there. Just use the I-75 through lanes. Those are just fine to avoid that. If you're traveling I-85 northbound out of DeKalb and Gwinnett County, a little slow, 285 up to Jimmy Carter Boulevard. And checking out some brake lights on 316 eastbound, leaving I-85 heading out toward Sugarloaf Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 95. Watching for scattered pop-up showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon and the evening hours.
93 in Duluth, 86 in Hampton, 91 in Ackworth. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 2 o'clock keyword is summer. That's summer, S-U-M-M-E-R. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword summer for your chance to win. You have until 2:59 to enter. Good luck. Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. Very, very glad to have you with me. This is Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, always good for a one-liner or so. This is him talking about the spending in Congress.
But you want to know how we got $36 trillion in debt? Just listen to this. Let me tell you what it's like. A majority, and not everybody, a majority of this body, they're all for cutting spending porn. They're all for going to heaven, but they're not ready to make the trip. That's how we got to $36 trillion. This stuff about PEPFAR, oh my God, you're going to destroy the world. Now, there's a part of PEPFAR that deals with money for life-saving care, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And there's a part of PEPFAR that you look at it and you want to say, pass me the sick bucket, isn't there?
Yes, sir.
And you're getting rid of the sick bucket stuff.
Yes, sir.
You're getting rid of $5.5 million to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex advocacy in Uganda, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
I can't believe we're arguing about this. I can't believe we're arguing about this.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. We have a massive spending problem in the country, and we simply do not have any recognition that we're going to have to make tough cuts. And you know, that's part of the issue with New York, and the more I've dug into this Mamdani guy and the stuff he promises, it's just a lot of people want free stuff. And Republicans like to campaign on reining it all in, but they're not actually reining this stuff in. This is the conversation Richard Haas today on MSNBC of all places.
I think that for Mamdani, there are dangers to draw too many national lessons from a race in New York City, a race where there are 2/3 Democrats. We also still have a general election, which could be complicated. We'll get into it with potentially Cuomo and certainly Eric Adams, the current mayor, running as independents. But I think for Democrats, there's something to be said, and this is what I heard from yesterday. Yes, are there concerns? Maybe he's too lefty, he's too liberal. We'll get into that too. But at the very least, he's a young, fresh face for a party that kind of needed to turn the page.
I'm shocked to hear you say that, Jonathan. And the party of Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders.
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. So, yeah, all that. And he's also a really good political athlete, just in terms of sheer talent. Also really mobilized younger kids living around the city. I think the real question is, on the other side of the ledger, a lot of his agenda, raising taxes, a lot of his promises are simply unsustainable, I would argue. His views on Israel are clearly, shall we say, controversial. And to me, the most interesting question is, to what extent is he prepared to tack towards the center? Will he do so? Can he do so without losing his base? And that, because what he doesn't want to see are massive defections of wealthy individuals and businesses out of New York. That is something New York City doesn't simply have the cushion for anymore. This is a city in difficult shape in terms of security, in terms of its fiscal situation. So to me, the real question is, to what extent is he willing and able to reassure the business community and wealthier New Yorkers, older New Yorkers, without losing his base?
And you hit on something. He's the first Democrat we've seen in a year or so. The really excited voters. People wanted to turn out for him. They were enthusiastic. They volunteered. Also enthusiastic, Republicans, who now say, look, he is out of step. He's too lefty. He's too liberal. We heard from J.D. Vance saying that Mamdani would now be the new face of the national party.
He's going to be if he gets elected, and he probably is. Y'all, I play these two clips, one of the Senate and one about the guy in New York City, because all of us on all sides are involved in parties that are fiscally reckless, and Republicans give lip service to fiscal recklessness, but not when they're in charge, only when Democrats are. Democrats want to promise pie-in-the-sky stuff that's just not going to work for anybody. I mean, this guy apparently wants to do government-run grocery stores. Countries with government-run grocery stores don't do well. Remember, when Boris Yeltsin came to the United States in 1990 and he saw an American grocery store, he actually believed it was staged. And he had to be reassured by the shoppers that it was not staged, that this was real. Capitalism is a great thing. Free markets are a great thing. The more the government encroaches, the less free market we have. Countries have been massively elevated out of poverty because of free markets. You know, I mentioned yesterday Botswana. Botswana and all of its neighbors, when freed from colonial powers asserting their independence, started planning their future economies. And every country around Botswana, now for those of you who do not know where Botswana was, those of you in Rio Linda, we're not talking about some far-off place in California. We're talking about the continent of Africa. Botswana is a large country that borders to its south, South Africa, to its west, Namibia, to its east, Zimbabwe, to its north, Zambia. Botswana is largely a desert country. But Botswana has diamond mines. And all the countries around Botswana have diamond mines. And when this part of Southern Africa got their independence, all of these countries decided to nationalize their industry. Except Botswana. Botswana, instead of nationalizing its industries, decided to partner with the industries. So instead of, for example, taking the diamond mines from De Beers, Botswana partnered with De Beers. Since its independence, Botswana now has the fastest growing gross domestic product and the fastest growing improvement to the standard of living in all of Southern Africa. It's outpacing South Africa, which is actually declining by metrics. It's outpacing Swaziland, it's outpacing Namibia, it's outpacing Zimbabwe, it's outpacing Zambia, it's outpacing Angola. Botswana is actually a success story. And what did it do? It embraced free markets. It embraced the private sector. And it's been a remarkable struggle there because it's been surrounded by others who insisted, other countries that insisted that Botswana needed to give up. And it needed to instead embrace socialism or communism. And there was an inordinate amount of pressure, and the leadership in Botswana has held very firm that no, it was going to do this. It was going to do public-private partnership. It was not going to confiscate the mines. It was going to partner with the mines and the like. And it's been remarkable. Now contrast that to the privileged existence of Americans, where a lot of Americans want the government to give it stuff and want the government to give stuff to other people. I'm not opposed to foreign spending. I actually think the foreign spending in our federal budget is less than 1% of the federal budget, and it buys us goodwill around the world. Our foreign spending, our foreign aid, is about 1% of the federal government's budget, and it gives the American government access to countries that might not otherwise give us access. It allows our spies the ability to spy. It builds goodwill in certain countries. It keeps certain countries from going to China. It's actually money well spent. Hard to explain it to Americans who've never traveled abroad, but it is money well spent. But there's a lot of government programs that are stupid, including foreign aid, as John Kennedy explained. Why are we funding LGBTQIA plus initiatives in African countries? It makes no sense for us to do stuff like that. That's not buying us goodwill. In fact, in many of these countries, it's offensive to local cultures, but the good white people of Washington, D.C. and New York tend to like it. What the good white people of New York and Washington tend to do as well is they tend to think that non-white people like free stuff. And these good white progressives are so overburdened with white guilt. And let's be clear here, it's white guilt is what we're dealing with. They've decided that they know best what's in the interests of the people who aren't like them. Democrats have so embraced class and racial category warfare in this country, and you got a bunch of wealthy, college-educated white people thinking, well, I know what's best for the blue-collar black voter. And it was the blue-collar black voters in New York who insisted they don't want this guy as their mayor. And it was the rich white progressives on Manhattan Island and in Brooklyn who said, no, you really will like it. Trust us. We're white people. We know what you want. The real racists in America are the wealthy white progressives who are bankrupting us as well. They are absolutely, fundamentally bankrupting the United States of America. And at some point, we got to do something. But the problem is that it's bipartisan. So let's go back to the Senate. As I was mentioning earlier, the Senate parliamentarian is striking out a lot of provisions. Now, the Senate parliamentarian is a parliamentarian who was chosen by Harry Reid. And the Republicans have chosen to keep the parliamentarian chosen by Harry Reid. The Senate parliamentarian, according to Axios, has ruled the Medicaid provider tax provision in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is out. It complicates Republicans' math on the spending cuts it needs to pass the package, as well as threatens the careful negotiations between the parties' factions. The parliamentarian also struck down provisions meant to block the use of Medicaid funds for gender-affirming care and to prevent unauthorized immigrants from receiving Medicaid or CHIP coverage. Democrats seized on the ruling as evidence that their fight against Trump's agenda was having some success. Republicans are trying to adjust the language on provider taxes to meet the parliamentarian standards. Now, what's this about? To be real clear here, the parliamentarian's goal is that you can't enact policy changes that are primarily policy changes. You can enact changes that are about taxes and spending, baseline spending. You can't adjust line items within the overall federal budget through reconciliation. And it's a tough burden. The Democrats have run into problems as well. The Democrats ran into problems when they wanted to up the minimum wage. Democrats wanted to give amnesty to illegal aliens. They wanted to do major changes to Obamacare that were thrown out. Some got through back in the day. And the parliamentarians stripped those provisions out. But what really is going on right now is a kabuki theater. A lot of these Republicans, they don't actually want the changes. And they're hoping, they're structuring the changes to be thrown out by the Senate parliamentarian because they don't really want them. Because neither Republicans nor Democrats are really serious about fiscal sanity in this country. And that's a problem for all of us because we're going to go off the fiscal cliff and our taxes are going to go up, our interest rates are going to go up. It's going to be bad for all of us. We are going to get real stagflation because of what these clowns are doing. We got to be able to stand up to them. And there are some great conservative warriors in the House of the Senate who are fighting. Rand Paul is fighting. Chip Roy, Thomas Massie, they're fighting in the House. They're getting vilified by the establishment Republicans. Some of them are getting attacked by Trump. But the problem is that you got in New York City now a bunch of wealthy white people who've given up on capitalism and they decided to go with a democratic socialist. And in Washington, Republicans don't want to be honest. They don't want to be honest about costs. They don't want to be honest about spending. You got people giving up on a system. What's really happened is the politicians gave up on the people. And you can't really blame the people for giving up on a system when it's pretty clear the politicians gave up on the people first. That in and of itself is a disappointment we'll have to contend with. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com today, you can sign up and take classes from Hillsdale College. They have a lot of great classes you can choose from at Hillsdale. You go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. They've got 40 classes. They cover politics, philosophy, religion, literature, history, economics, chemistry, mathematics, you name it. You do them at your own pace. Every class is broken down into episodes of about 30 minutes each. You watch the videos. At the end, you get a certificate of completion. You don't pay a penny. It's from Hillsdale College trying to improve minds, improve worldviews. You go to ericforhillsdale.com today. They really are good. There's a great one with the 4th of July coming up. It's worth taking their early American period classes. In fact, here, let me give you the names of some of these classes. ericforhillsdale.com. If you want to just go check out the catalog, you go to ericforhillsdale.com. Up at the top, there's a catalog tag, and you can get American Citizenship, The Great American Story, A Land for Hope, American Heritage from the Colonial Settlement to the Current Day. There's just phenomenal works. Introduction to Western Philosophy, Introduction to Aristotle's Ethics. Those are great for showing the founding of the American story. So many of these great works. And then you get a review of the Federalist Papers, a review of American foreign policy, a review of the American left, the Constitution 101, the history and meaning of the Constitution, how the Supreme Court works, an introduction to the Constitution, the presidency of the Constitution 201, all of these things. They're available completely for free from Hillsdale College. All you do is go to ericforhillsdale.com, you sign up today, you get started, you get learning.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
251 Cool Rate Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Starting to see the brake lights fill up. 285 eastbound, the inner loop starting in Dorville from Buford Highway, heading south through Tucker down to Highway 78. 285 westbound, also seeing those brake lights. Ashford Dunwoody on the outer loop, heading over to Roswell Road and Sandy Springs. Crash still leaves only the left shoulder open in Marietta. 75 north, the express lanes at Windy Hill Road. Traffic brought to you by the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. The 2025 FIFA Club World Cup is coming to Atlanta. Get ready for a global soccer showdown at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Don't just watch history, be there. Get tickets at FIFA.com/tickets. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's WSB's $1,000 Thursday. Your chance to win $1,000 every hour today until 4 p.m. The 2 o'clock keyword is summer. That's summer, S-U-M-M-E-R. Go to WSBradio.com or the WSB Radio app and enter the keyword summer for your chance to win. You have until 2:59 to enter. Good luck.
Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelly Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for the Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday noon to 1 right here on 95.5 WSB.
The Guaranteed Offer from Mark Spain Real Estate's the easiest way to sell your home. You can save time, make the most money, and eliminate the hassle this summer. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Hey, homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Private Selection Angus 80% lean ground chuck is on sale. 16-ounce packages are $5.49 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
It is officially summer break, and we can all take a deep breath. Well, only if your air ducts are clean. Call the cleaning pros at Zero Res to get your ducts insanely clean. And now you can take advantage of their summer sale for 15% off all services, including carpet, area rugs, and air duct cleanings. For a limited time, mention me, Chris Chandler, and you'll get 15% off your next service. That is right, any service, 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE when scheduling online at ZeroResAtlanta.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Summer's a time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your abs or your tan. Hey guys, it's Mark Aram here. I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. There's absolutely no one in hair restoration I trust more than Advanced Hair. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar. Advanced Hair's summer sales event on for a limited time, so get the details and schedule your free consultation today. 470-660-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results. With Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and take advantage of their best offer ever. That's 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com. 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Delighted to have you with me. Y'all, Ian Millhauser, he's back at it, Little Millhouse. He's having his meltdown that the Supreme Court has made its ruling on abortion. This guy is at Vox, and he is a laugh riot. Here we go. I got to read for you part of this. This is so funny. Federal law says that any individual eligible for medical assistance from a state Medicare program may obtain the care from an institution, agency, community, pharmacy, or person qualified to perform the service or services required. In other words, all Medicaid patients have a right to choose their doctor as long as they choose a health provider competent to provide the care they need. But on Thursday, the Republican justices ruled that Medicaid patients may not choose their health provider, and then they went further. Thursday's decision radically reorders all of federal Medicaid law, rendering it unenforceable. Medina could prove to be one of the most consequential health care decisions of the last several years and one of the deadliest, as it raises a cloud of doubt over countless laws requiring that certain people receive health care coverage. All three of the court's Democrats dissented. Justice Gorsuch's opinion is a train wreck of legal reasoning. This guy calls Gorsuch a train wreck of legal reasoning. Holy moly. I mean, complete meltdown by this guy who, at this point, has got to be used to losing. This guy got a swirly by someone who grew up to be a judge, I'm pretty sure. Goodness gracious. Democrats in absolute meltdown over this. By the way, as Gorsuch noted in his opinion, there's a pretty long history of the Supreme Court telling individuals that they don't have an individual right to sue under Medicaid Medicare programs, and this is just the latest front. But to the left, it's always set your hair on fire when the conservatives just do something. If he is that upset, if this little Millhauser guy is that upset today, He's going to be positively livid tomorrow. I hope somebody gives him some Xanax or something and calms him down, because I suspect the decisions that we get tomorrow from the Supreme Court are going to be massive, massive decisions and victories for Donald Trump and the right. And I suspect that the nationwide injunction case is going to be a split up, convoluted decision from Roberts, but probably is also going to go in Donald Trump's direction. It's going to be bad for the left tomorrow. Y'all be here at noon tomorrow. The Supreme Court's final decisions come out tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll give you the breakdown at noon. They're going to be pretty big decisions. I will see you then.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
I got some really great news for you and me as taxpayers here in Georgia. A new report shows that Georgia is so strong, the state, in terms of reserves and budgeting and debt obligations, that Georgia ranks 5th of the 50 states on financial stability at the state level. Why is this so important? The legislature has been continually cutting the state income tax rate, most recently 5.19% down from 6%, and the trend line is absolutely our friend, cutting it a little bit year by year by year as we try to become competitive with the states around us. So in order to do that and sustain this, the state has to stay solvent and really solid with reserves, and we're there. I'm Clark Howard.
Hey, Friday starting at 5 a.m. on Atlanta's Morning News. Our exclusive 5-day forecast helps you plan your weekend. Breaking metro stories and triple team traffic get you to work on time. Plus, Clark Howard's reality check if you're looking to go on a cruise. And we'll wrap up the president's dramatic week in our Friday chat with CBS's Nancy Cordes at the White House. Join us starting at 5 o'clock for Atlanta's Morning News on 95.5 WSB.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story, a fireball and a boom. That's what people across Metro Atlanta are reporting this afternoon. It may be a meteor burning up in the atmosphere. Meteorologist Christina Edwards says there are annual meteor showers this time of the year.
According to the American Meteor Society, a fireball is a very bright meteor, brighter than the planet Venus, and it can